हेलो हेलो हेलो। सबका स्वागत है। हमारे यूनिक सर भी आ गए हैं। आज की स्ट्रीम में तो उनकी बहुत जरूरत होगी। नमस्कार यूनिक सर, स्वागत है आपका। और
गुड
वो भी
इवनिंग।
करते हैं। सर पूछ लेना चाहिए ना, हर यूट्यूबर की तरह मेरे को बड़ा शौक है पूछने का। क्या मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
हाँ, बिल्कुल आ रही है। और अगर मेरे पास जवाब आपको सुनाई दे रहा है तो फिर बिल्कुल मेरी भी आवाज आ ही रही होगी।
सर बिल्कुल बहुत सही आ रही है। हमने 15 मिनट पहले स्ट्रीम चालू करी है ताकि लोगों को थोड़ा
यस।
सा आइडिया दे सके क्या हो रहा है बैकग्राउंड में, और आज की स्ट्रीम में क्या देखा जाना चाहिए, किस पे ध्यान दिया जाना चाहिए, और हु इज
हम्म।
बेटर टू एक्सप्लेन एनीथिंग रिगार्डिंग साइंटिफिक डिस्कशंस देन हमारे वेरी ओन यूनिक सर। तो यूनिक सर आपका स्वागत है। और गाइस, इससे पहले कि हम डिस्कशन, और 10 मिनट का ही टाइम मिलेगा हमें, सो लेट्स स्टार्ट शेयरिंग। आई
हम्म।
नो आज एक अच्छा मैच है। यूनिक सर आप भी जानते हैं। तो आई वांट
ऑब्वियसली।
टू श्योर दैट पीपल गेट दिस इंफॉर्मेशन कि आज ये स्ट्रीम है। इट्स अ वेरी पॉपुलर डिबेट। जो ओपोनेंट है उनकी स्पेशलिटी बोली जाती है ये। तो बी आर
हम्म।
आज उनके कैसे धागे खोलेंगे हम ये देखना चाहेंगे। इन द मीन वाइल यूनिक सर, मैं थोड़े थोड़े आपसे अगर
हम्म।
सवाल पूछ सकूं। व्हेन यू
बिल्कुल
टॉक
बिल्कुल।
अबाउट रिलीजन, मतलब अगर हम
हम्म।
रिलीजन को भी छोड़कर सिर्फ साइंस पे पहले डिस्कशन करते हैं, साइंस
हम्म।
का मायना एक्चुअली में क्या होता है? लाइक व्हाट इज एक्चुअली साइंस?
वैसे तो इसको अलग अलग लोग अलग अलग तरीके से डिफाइन करते हैं, बट जो कॉमनली एक्सेप्टेबल है वो टर्म ये है कि जो भी फिनोमिना वेल डिफाइंड हो और मैथमेटिकली 100% एक्सप्रेस्ड हो, और इसको रिपीटेडली आप वेरीफाई कर सको एट एनी लोकेशन। मतलब ऐसा ना हो कि युगांडा के साइंस अलग है, इंडिया का साइंस अलग है और यूएस का साइंस अलग है, ऐसा नहीं। तो यूनिवर्सली एक्सेप्टेंस, प्रॉपरली डिफाइंड और मैथमेटिकली एक्सप्रेस्ड अगर कोई टर्म है तो वो साइंटिफिक कहलाती है, एंड इट इज जनरली एक्सेप्टेड बाय एवरीवन। और उससे रिलेटेड जो भी कंटेंट होगा, जो भी रिसर्च होगा, जो भी एक्सपेरिमेंट होगा, दैट डेटा इज देन अनदर थिंग। फिर वो उसका सपोर्टिव सारा इंफॉर्मेशन हो जाता है। सो बेसिकली कोई भी चीज परफेक्टली डिफाइंड होनी चाहिए, यूनिवर्सली एक्सेप्टेड होनी चाहिए, और मैथमेटिकली वेरीफाई करने जैसी और मैथमेटिकली वेल एक्सप्रेस्ड होनी चाहिए। ये तीन कंडीशंस होती है।
हाँ सर, मतलब इसको अगर मैं सिंप्लीफाई करके बोलूं तो सेब का पेड़ से गिरना इज जस्ट एन
हम्म।
ऑब्जर्वेशन। बट वो किस स्पीड से गिरता
यस।
है, हर जगह बराबर इसी स्पीड से गिरता है, उस पे क्या वेरिएशन हो सकती है, क्या फर्क पड़ सकता है, इस चीज को साइंस
हम्म।
बोला जाता है। सिंपली पेड़ का, सॉरी, सेब का पेड़ से गिरना साइंस नहीं कहलाएगा, वो ऑब्जर्वेशन कहलाएगा। मैं सही बोल रहा हूँ सर?
यस, वो ऑब्जर्वेशन होगा, लेकिन अगर कोई उसके सेव के गिरने का कोई मैथमेटिक्स बता दे कि ये सेव अगर आप 10 मीटर की हाइट से छोड़ोगे तो वो इतने इतने टाइम में जमीन पे गिरेगा, या 20 मीटर से हाइट से छोड़ोगे तो वो इतने इतने टाइम में जमीन पे गिरेगा। सो दिस इज साइंटिफिकली एक्सप्रेस्ड इन टर्म्स ऑफ फॉर्मूला और मैथमेटिक्स। तो वो साइंटिफिक है। फिर उसको
बिल्कुल।
तो
मैं एक सर डिस्टिंक्शन और पूछना चाह रहा था। जैसे हम अभी साइंस की बात करते हैं, तो अगर
दैट्स
किसी चीज में इनकंसिस्टेंसी निकलती है तो क्या उसे एक तो उसे लॉ ऑफ साइंस बोला जा सकता है कि नहीं? दूसरा, फॉर समथिंग, मतलब एक प्रोपोजिशन बोल लिया या एक ऑब्जर्वेशन बोल लेते हैं, एक बात जो लिखी हुई है उसको किस लेवल तक पीयर रिव्यू, जैसे हम कहते हैं, मैं चाह रहा हूँ आप पीयर रिव्यू के बारे में बताएं, उसको किस हद तक टेस्ट करना जरूरी होता है,
ओके।
क्या क्या स्टेजेस होती हैं कि एक प्रोपोजिशन को एक लॉ या एक साइंस माना जाए?
अगर जो देखा जाए ना, तो जनरली किसी भी थ्योरी को एस्टेब्लिश होने के लिए बहुत बड़ा एक टाइम स्पैन लगता है। इट कैन बी लाइक मिनिमम 5 years, मिनिमम 10 years ऑल्सो, एंड इट कैन बी लाइक लाइक 50 years ऑल्सो। कुछ कुछ केसेस में तो ऐसा है कि 100 साल पहले कोई आइडिया प्रपोज किया था और अभी भी उसका कोई प्रूफ नहीं मिला है, जैसे कि डार्क एनर्जी जो कॉन्सेप्चुअली है, लेकिन कहीं पे भी हमको ऐसे कोई बोल नहीं सकता कि जाके 2 किलो डार्क मैटर लेके आओ और टेबल पे रख दो।
अच्छा।
इट्स नॉट पॉसिबल, अभी तक हम लोग
ये
उसको, ये है। सो
यूनिक यूनिक भाई की आवाज सिर्फ मुझे कटी हुई सुनाई दे रही है या बाकी लोगों को भी भाई?
नहीं सर, बीच में कटी थी, और इसी के साथ आपका भी स्वागत है दीनी भाई, बहुत बहुत वेलकम आपका। अभी बस इनका ये क्वेश्चन खत्म करने के बाद मैं आप ही से पूछने वाला था कि क्या ये कुरान पे अप्लाई करता है क्या नहीं। मैं 1 मिनट के लिए बस इनको पेरीमीटर सुनवाने दूं कि पीयर रिव्यू किसे कहते हैं, आर्टिकल किसे
जी
कहते हैं, पीयर रिव्यूड आर्टिकल किसे कहते हैं, जर्नल में कहना, एक्सपेरिमेंट होना और फिर लॉ बनना। मैं वो चाह रहा था हायरार्की अगर पता चले।
एग्जैक्टली ये बिल्कुल सही, यही स्टेप्स होती है। कोई भी प्रिंसिपल, कोई किसी को अगर लगता है, कोई चीज अगर मुझे लगता है कि ये सब होने वाला है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल आइंस्टाइन को ऐसे लगा कि ग्रेविटी इज समथिंग दैट इज क्रिएटिंग अ स्पेस बेंडिंग इफेक्ट अराउंड एनी फिक्स मैटर, तो ये उसको लगा। तो सबसे पहले वो लगने वाला जो चीज होता है ना, वो उसको हम लोग प्रिंसिपल करके डिफाइन कर देते हैं। उसके बाद में उसके रिलेटेड एविडेंसेस, उससे रिलेटेड मैथमेटिक्स ढूंढा जाता है, जिसका एक साइंटिफिक पेपर पब्लिश किया जाता है। अब आपने वो पब्लिश करने से पहले क्या क्या एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन किया, क्या क्या ऑब्जर्वेशन किया, ये सब कुछ उसमें आपको सपोर्टिव लिखना पड़ता है। आफ्टर दैट उस चीज को दूसरे स्कॉलर्स वेरीफाई करते हैं कि आपने जो लिखा है क्या वो मैथमेटिकली सच में सही है, क्या वो किसी भी दूसरे लोकेशन पे भी वेरीफाई किया जा सकता है। आफ्टर दैट इसका वो पीर रिव्यू करते हैं, मतलब कुछ लोग उसको एक्सेप्ट करेंगे, कुछ लोग उसको रिजेक्ट करेंगे। उसके क्रिटिसिज्म के बाद में जो एक्सट्रैक्ट निकलता है, दैट इज प्रॉपरली पीर रिव्यूड पब्लिश्ड पेपर, जो जनरली साइंटिफिकली एक्सेप्ट होता है हर एक लेवल पे। मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि कुछ लोग इसको मान रहे, कुछ लोग नहीं मान रहे, तो जो नहीं मान रहे उनका भी क्वेरी इस पर्टिकुलर सेंस में कंसिडर किया जाता है, क्योंकि इट इज ऑल्सो वेल एस्टेब्लिश्ड फिनोमिना। मतलब कोई अगर उसको गलत ठहराता है तो वो, जैसे एग्जांपल लेते हैं न्यूटन और आइंस्टाइन का। न्यूटन ने कहा था कि ग्रेविटी जो होती है वो दो, कोई भी ऑब्जेक्ट अगर स्पेस में है तो वो एक दूसरे के तरफ खींचे चले जाते हैं, बट आइंस्टाइन ने कहा ऐसा नहीं होता है, वो एक दूसरे को खींचते नहीं है। वो खींचने वाला इसलिए लगता है क्योंकि वो हायर डायमेंशनल स्पेस बेंडिंग इफेक्ट की वजह से होता है। तो स्पेस टाइम फैब्रिक होता है फोर्थ डायमेंशन, जहां पे स्पेस बेंडिंग की वजह से दो ऑब्जेक्ट्स एक दूसरे की तरफ खींचे चले आ रहे हैं, ऐसा हमको इल्यूजन होता है। एक्चुअल में कोई चीज दूसरे को खींचती नहीं है ये। मतलब एक तरीके से मैं सिंपल स्टेटमेंट में बोल दूं कि एग्जिस्टिंग जो
यूनिक सर, आपकी, सॉरी
हाँ।
आपको रोक रहा हूँ, आपको, आप, कई
हम्म।
लोग नीचे बता रहे हैं कि आपकी आवाज कट रही है, और बी आर खुद भी आकर बता रहे हैं कि आवाज कट रही है। तो मे
अच्छा
बी
अच्छा
बेटर
अच्छा, ओके
इंटरनेट
ओके।
इज इम्पोर्टेंट। मैं तब तक
हाँ प्रोबेबली।
आपने जैसे बताया, मैं सिंप्लीफाई कर देता हूँ
हाँ
कि पहले आप एक चीज ऑब्जर्व करते हो, उस पे खुद अपने लेवल पे हर चीज को डॉक्यूमेंट करके आप एक्सपेरिमेंट करते हो, नोट डाउन करते हो, फिर वो पब्लिश होता है। आप नॉर्मल पब्लिकेशन करते हो, जैसे न्यूज़पेपर में, किसी मैगजीन में। फिर उसको लेकर अगर कुछ लोग नोट करते हैं, तो बहुत सारे लोग आपकी ऑब्जर्वेशंस, आपके पैरामीटर्स को चेक करते हैं, ये देखने के लिए कि आपने हवा में बात तो नहीं कर रखी। फिर उसको जब वो एक्सपेरिमेंट करेंगे या कुछ लोग चैलेंज करेंगे, उसे कहते हैं पीयर रिव्यू होना। और पीयर रिव्यू होने के बाद लोग कहते हैं हाँ, दीज आर द पैरामीटर्स, इसकी ये वेरिएशंस हैं, इसमें ये प्रॉब्लम्स क्रिएट होती हैं, ये जीरो एरर्स होते हैं। और उसके बाद उस पे और ज्यादा एक्सपेरिमेंट किए जाते हैं। जब वो बहुत सारे एक्सपेरिमेंट्स में अलग अलग जगहों पे अलग अलग पैरामीटर्स को सेट करने के बाद, ऑब्जर्व करने के बाद जो चीज निकलती है, उसे एक साइंटिफिक लॉ बोला जाता है। सही बोल रहा हूँ सर?
बिल्कुल सही, बिल्कुल सही। तो इन शॉर्ट अगर
अब
कोई चीज हाँ मॉडिफाई होती है ना, तो ये जनरल अक्सर इनकी तरफ से आर्गुमेंट आता है। मैं ये पहले ही बता दूं कि साइंस कोई फाइनलाइज चीज नहीं है, वो मुकम्मल नहीं है, पूरा मुकम्मल है। साइंस बदलते रहता है, तो एक्चुअली बदलते नहीं रहता है, वो सिर्फ अपडेट होता है। तो इसका मतलब
बिल्कुल
पुराना थियरी डिस्कार्ड हो जाता है, ऐसा नहीं होता है। मतलब न्यूटन
बिल्कुल,
का लॉ
समझ
आज
गया
से
सर।
नहीं चलेगा, ये नहीं होता है। इट इज जस्ट मॉडिफाइड,
बिल्कुल,
अलग
गॉट
तरीके
इट
से
गॉट इट।
देखा जाता है उसको बस।
अब मैं हल्का सा अपने आज की जो स्ट्रीम होने वाली है, उसका जो दूसरा पहलू है, आपने साइंस एक्सप्लेन करी, अपने पास दीनी भाई हैं, हु इज बेटर टू एक्सप्लेन दिस, कि जब हम कुरान के अंदर साइंस ढूंढने जाते हैं या लोग दिखाने की कोशिश करते हैं, तो वो क्या विचार रखने चाहिए उस मामले में, उसको कैसे देखा जाना चाहिए, और अनफॉर्चुनेटली मुस्लिम्स उसको कैसा देखते हैं? दीनी भाई, थोड़ा आप खुल के और बताएं।
अ, जनाब ऐसा है कि जिस तरह की साइंस कुरान में ढूंढी जाती है, उस तरह से ढूंढने पे दुनिया की शायद ही कोई किताब होगी जिसमें साइंस ना निकले। यहाँ तक कि अगर कामसूत्रा की बुक उठा ली जाएगी तो उसमें भी साइंस निकलेगी, लेकिन जबरदस्ती वाली ही होगी कुरान जैसी।
जी।
यानी बंदे ने कुछ और बोला है, तुम यानी उस बात का अगर एक वर्ड साइंस किसी थ्योरी या किसी बात के एक वर्ड से मिल गया तो ये अब वो समझ लो पूरी बात ही उसी किताब की हो गई। अब साइंस गई भाड़ में, बाकी उस वर्ड के आगे पीछे क्या बोला जा रहा है कोई लेन देन है ही नहीं है। तो इस तरह अगर साइंस ढूंढना है तो मुझे नहीं लगता कि दुनिया में कोई किताब है जिसमें साइंस नहीं है फिर तो, अगर इसी तरह ढूंढना है तो।
अरे ये बात बिल्कुल सही कही, मैं तो चंपक में भी साइंस ढूंढ लूंगा फिर तो। चाचा चौधरी की
हाँ,
किताबें तो आधे से ज्यादा, इवन टॉम एंड जेरी कार्टून में सबसे ज्यादा अच्छी साइंस एक्सप्लेन किया है।
मैं तो ये भी बोल रहा हूँ ना कि भाई जो कामसूत्रा की बुक है उसमें भी मिल जाएगी, क्या ये लोग ईमान लाएंगे उस पे?
सही बात है, सही बात है।
हाँ,
सर
अच्छा हाँ
जी,
मेरी
वो
एक मिनट सत्या
हीटेड
भाई।
डिबेट्स आपको सर वो बीआर भाई आपको प्रणाम बोल रहे थे, शायद वहां बैठे इंतजार कर रहे हैं, तो अपनी स्ट्रीम खोलकर
जी।
बाहर से देख रहे हैं। तो उन्होंने कहा आपको प्रणाम बोल दिया जाए।
तो ये सही
जी, आप
बात
कुछ
है,
कह रहे थे
मतलब
दीदी भाई।
जेल में बैठे हुए बंदे पे कोई काम नहीं है तो ये तो दीवारों की ईंटें गिन डाली बंदे ने, हैं? कोई बात नहीं। हाँ,
यही यही।
हाँ, मैं क्या
वैसे
बोल रहा था, मेरी
ब्रह्मराक्षस बेस्ट ऑफ
गुजारिश
लक।
है। हाँ, एक मिनट यूनी भाई, मेरी गुजारिश है लोगों
हाँ जी, हाँ
से
जी।
कि भाई जो भी लोग सड़े टमाटर लेके आए हैं, बराए मेहरबानी अपना वक्त सोने में खर्च करें, यानी स्लीपिंग में। क्योंकि मुझे पता है अभी आप टमाटर लेके आए हुए सड़ा हुआ है, उसको नहीं मारोगे तो इसको मारोगे, लेकिन मार के ही जाओगे। तो ये हरकतें बंद करो भाई, ठीक है? अच्छा अच्छा, सत्या भाई, ये जो अपने राजा दाहिर थे, ये कासिम से जीत गए थे क्या?
अरे हमारा इतना हिस्टोरिकल सवाल तो सिर्फ सनातन समीक्षा साहब ही बता पाएंगे। मेरे को याद नहीं सर,
मेरे
ईमानदारी से जवाब
हाँ,
दूं।
मेरे ख्याल से नहीं जीते थे, कि अगर जीते होते तो फिर कासिम इधर आके मार काट मचा के नहीं जा पाता। लेकिन फिर उनकी
और
तारीफें
ये तो
क्यों
है,
होती हैं?
क्योंकि लड़े।
लड़े। मैं पिछले ही डिबेट में शुरू में बोल दिया था, मुझे इस चीज से कोई लेना देना नहीं है डिबेट का क्या रिजल्ट आएगा। हालांकि मुझे अभी भी नहीं पता उसका क्या रिजल्ट रहा, लेकिन उस टाइम मैंने शुरू में ही बोल दिया था मेरे लिए यही काफी है कि चलो हिंदुओं की तरफ से कोई इंटरनेशनल डिबेट्स में गया तो सही। यहाँ तो मुझे आज तक मैं इतने लगभग 10-12 सालों से देख रहा हूँ, मुझे एक सिंगल पर्सन नहीं मिला जो इंटरनेशनल डिबेट्स में हिंदुओं की नुमाइंदगी करता हो। लेकिन अपने लोग
जी
क्या
जी
ठहरे,
बिल्कुल।
भैया जी सड़े टमाटर लेके आए, उसको नहीं मारेंगे, उसको अपने बंदे को मारेंगे, लेकिन मारेंगे जरूर। भाई इससे अच्छा आप
दो बार
हाँ, सोओगे तो सेहत भी सही रहेगी।
बिल्कुल नहीं दीनी भाई, मैं तो ऐसे लेके चलता हूँ, जब कोई आगे जाता है ना, जब कोई आगे बढ़कर काम करता है तो कुछ को दिक्कत होती है। कुछ को ये दिक्कत होती है कि ये क्यों जा रहा है, मैं क्यों नहीं जा पा रहा। तो मैं इन लोगों को बेचारा बोलकर सिर्फ साइड करना पसंद करता हूँ कि उनके जहन में नहीं आया, उनमें हिम्मत नहीं थी, या शायद मौका नहीं मिला। तो बस बेचारा बोलकर आदमी के दिल का जो दर्द कीबोर्ड पे बाहर आ रहा होता है, इसको इग्नोर करते हैं। आज सिर्फ कपड़े फाड़ेंगे साइंस के। मतलब हम नहीं, नादिर साहब। और उम्मीद है कि कुछ ऐसे खुलासे होंगे जिससे कम से कम नादिर साहब भी और बहुत सारे इस्लामिस्ट जो कहते हैं कुरान में साइंस है। मुझे किसी ने एक बड़ी दिन में एक बड़ी अच्छी टर्म बोली थी, यूनिक साहब भी समझेंगे। आ, ये बोलते हैं साइंटिफिक मिरेकल्स। बोल सुनने में बड़ी आम सी बड़ी नॉर्मल सी टर्म है, हम आते जाते सुनते रहते हैं। बट असलियत में देखा जाए तो ये एक ऑक्सीमोरॉन होता है कि जैसे ठंडी आग हो ही नहीं सकती। अगर वो साइंस है तो वो वेरीफाई किया जा चुका है, वो मिरेकल नहीं है। वो क्यों हुआ, कैसे हुआ, कहाँ तक हो सकता है, कहाँ नहीं हो सकता, ये सब देख लिया जाता है। और अगर वो साइंटिफिकली प्रूवन नहीं है, फिर भी कुछ ऐसा हुआ, तो उसे मिरेकल बोला जाता है। मतलब आप समझ रहे, साइंटिफिक। तो जब हम ईश्वर की या कुछ ऐसी
मुझे
बातों की बात करते हैं जहां पे हम मिरेकल दिखाने की कोशिश करते हैं, तो पता नहीं मुसलमानों को क्यों ये शौक है कि वो अपनी रिलीजियस किताब से साइंस ढूंढ रहे हैं। क्या वेरिफिके
मुझे
आज उसी पे
मुझे
ही चर्चा होनी है, जहां तक मुझे समझ में आता है।
सत्य सत्य भाई, मैं कट कर रहा हूँ। ये बहुत ही अजीबो इत्तेफाक की बात है कि यार नादिर मियाँ भी कमेंट सेक्शन में है, अपने बी आर भाई भी कमेंट सेक्शन में है, तो वहां डिबेट कौन करेगा?
सर क्या बात करें, नादिर साहब भी इधर आए हुए हैं।
नादिर
अरे
मियाँ भी कमेंट
ये
सेक्शन
क्या
में है।
हो गया?
नादिर सर,
एक
अगर
काम
आप
करते हैं,
वही हो जो हम कह रहे हैं तो ऑल द वेरी बेस्ट।
Yes, all the best
अरे
to both of you. What we can say.
आप लोग चलते उधर डिबेट करने भाई, जब डिबेटर यहाँ घूम रहे हैं तो वहां डिबेट कौन करेगा?
उनको
आधा
सर ये
यही आ
वाली
जाओ
बात
फिर
समझ में
डिबेट
नहीं आएगी।
करने।
नादिर नादिर नादिर, I want to know whether it's a fault on modern day debates part or some technical glitch happened, because both of our contenders are here talking to us. I really appreciate you guys coming around, but I am not sure why are you guys here. Yeah, isn't it time for you guys to have a debate?
Exactly.
जी
If you
जी जी।
both are here, then you can join the stage. Have a pre-discussion over here.
Yeah,
You're
we
most
can have it
welcome.
here. That's not a problem. I'm an excellent timekeeper. जी जी जी। जी दीनी भाई, आप कुछ आप बता रहे हैं कि बात तो सही है, ये दोनों यहीं घूम रहे हैं तो वहां चर्चा किससे करनी है? ओह शिट,
वैसे
आई लाइक। अच्छा ये लीजिए, आपके लिए कोई आए हैं।
हेलो भाइयों बहनों, नमस्ते। आप सबको मेरी आवाज आ रही है क्लियर?
जी
yes,
सर,
yes,
बिल्कुल आ रही
बेहतरीन
है।
आ रही है.
हाँ, Nadir has just proposed me to debate on my channel because he thinks that MDD people have forgot about this debate. So Nadir wants to
ओह
join.
शिट।
Okay to him. So do we have a good moderator
No
here?
problem, no problem, no problem.
We will vacate the space for you guys, not a problem।
Yes,
Yeah,
Nadir, and you can join and tell us your rules. And now I'm sharing the link in the comments in the live chat for you.
And
चले
please,
भाई फिर।
nobody else joins. It's only for Nadir to come on board. This is not a public debate where people are allowed to come up. It's only between the two guys. So just respect what is being done. Nadir, more than happy to have you over, man. I think I can share it if you want to. Give me a second.
And
मेरे ख्याल से, हाँ मेरे ख्याल से बी आर भाई और नादिर मियाँ के अलावा यहाँ कोई एक ही बंदा रहे, बाकी सब हटते हैं। और जो भी
yes, yes,
मॉडरेटर
हम
रहेगा
निकल
भाई
लेते हैं.
उसकी, हाँ उसकी ईमानदारी का इम्तिहान रहेगा, जो भी मॉडरेटर रहेगा।
Nadir, if you want, you
मैं
can bring
बैठ
your moderator too, and we'd allow you to share this live stream on your channel as well.
नहीं, I'll be the decent moderator, मतलब I won't sound like an idiot. I know how to moderate, but if he wants to bring his moderator, more than welcome. We can both sit on it, not a problem. It's a welcoming
Yep.
fee, man. I'm happy to have you over.
Yes, Nadir,
ओके,
you
मैं
can
जाता हूँ नीचे भाई,
join
लोग
this.
मिलते हैं ब्रेक के बाद।
Okay.
बिल्कुल सर, बिल्कुल,
Nadir,
थैंक यू, आप आए।
बिल्कुल. मैं भी निकलता हूँ सत्या भाई. बेस्ट ऑफ लक बी आर, बेस्ट ऑफ लक नादिर. जस्ट I hope this debate gives us very much clarification about the science and the Quran also. Best of luck to both of you.
धन्यवाद
Definitely.
भैया.
जी जी जी.
थैंक यू
Nadir,
यूनिक
you
सर,
can
आप
use
आए।
the link to join the stream.
We are welcome on your own stream।
Thank you, भैया.
What
Thank
happened,
you.
मतलब क्या हुआ? Like modern day debates forgot about it, or last time भी यही problem हुई थी।
No, I think James is traveling and the guy responsible is not responding right now. So that could be the
Oh,
problem. We don't know actually.
that's understandable. Technical glitches are bound to happen, so no blame on anyone. Just ये तो natural life है।
Hmm.
Uh,
Nadir, if you know
that's
how to use
nice.
StreamYard, you can join.
Nadir, if you want any assistance, just type in the comments. We'll be able to help out.
And I've mailed you the joining link.
And in case, BR, I think it's important that modern day debates is given the respect it is due. Whosoever was, I think James was the one who was moderating. James, in case you guys are able to start it before we started here, more than welcome. But in case you guys like are able to handle the technicalities afterwards, may I suggest that since the debate is happening here, you guys can stream it on your channel and not disturb the stream if possible. This is with all due respect and courtesy. This is not a taunt to anyone. Don't take it otherwise.
Exactly. Modern day debates is free to use this stream on their channel.
That's unpleasant, or I should say a pleasant surprise. Actually, we are the one who's hosting it, so I'm happy to do it.
Okay, that is good. And we still don't have Nadir on here. And let's see when he joins.
Let's give him 5 minutes. It's a possibility he's not fluent with StreamYard. Like, it's
Could be,
modern day
could be.
debates, I think, does it on Zoom. Oh,
We have
Nadir is here.
Nadir here. Hi, Nadir. How are you?
Hey, good doing. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with modern day debate. I think maybe they might have forgot. So I don't know.
Okay, let me just arrange the icons so that we are facing each other. And you're very
sure.
welcome. Yes.
Well, what's the
Yeah, go
format
on.
for? I think we should keep the same format: opening 10 minutes,
Mhm.
and then we go back and forth 2 minutes for this debate. What do you think?
Fair.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Sorry, Nadir, just to clarify, since I'm not the, I will be the one who's going to be managing the time.
Sure,
How
sure.
many circles of 2 minute back and forth are you guys looking for? What was the
Let's-
decided term?
Let's do 15 minutes. I guess that's the same amount of time which you find on MDD. So 15 minutes back and forth, 2 minutes each. I'll probably
All right,
finish
done.
him off. I'll probably finish off heated debates in 20. So it could
So
even be
that
Not
is
a
really
problem.
optimistic of you.
Yeah. No, I think I can finish you in 20. I think I'm getting really
Okay.
good
That's
at
all
this
right.
actually.
Now that's
Let's reserve
overconfidence.
the punches.
Yeah.
Let's reserve the punches for the debate.
Yeah.
So let me just introduce to Nadir, if you wanna tell somebody on your channel to come up and moderate on your part, that's completely welcome.
No, you're fine. You can do it. I trust you.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. So I'll be
Okay.
keeping the time off screen because I am not prepared for this at the moment. So I'll announce when there's 30 seconds left in the 15 minute per segment, and I'll inform when there is 15 seconds left in the 2 minute segments.
Sure, sure.
And after 50 minutes of conversation in back and forth, we'll go for closing arguments, and then we'll take questions from the audiences.
Okay. And probably Heated will go first. He'll cite what he believes is scientifically incorrect in the Quran. Then I'll come back and respond to him.
So you can very well go first. We have no problem with that. In fact,
Yeah,
I
you are
want
the
you to go
guest.
first.
I have
You're the
nothing to
guest.
say. I have nothing to say. I mean, I need to first respond to your allegations. This debate title is it scientifically correct? So you got to first show here's how it's not scientific, and then I will come and respond. Right?
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
So then just give me some time, and till then you
Yeah.
can introduce yourself and your channel to the audience.
Sure. Take your time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What I will explain to your audience is that Quran and science has ruined the careers of a lot of the atheists and Christians. And so now they're actually running away just because they see the debate as unwinnable for them. And so when Heated Debate actually stepped up to the challenge, I was like, wow, that's like a miracle taking place. But what we are finding is that a lot of the Quran and science miracle narratives, the atheists, agnostics have endorsed. And you can find that on my YouTube channel, where they've actually agreed with not everything, but certain important points of the scientific miracles of the Quran. And so I've been doing this for about 30 years, and I mean it what I said, that I will finish Heated in 20 minutes of that discussion. Once that we get into that 50-minute discussion, he will be finished in 20. And I mean that's what my goal is. And that wasn't like tough talk or anything like that, but that's what I'm averaging about. And that's why the people with like the very big channels, they're not going to debate this topic because they
Okay,
don't.
that is what you're aiming at. Can I start with my presentation? With your
Go ahead,
permission?
please. Go ahead.
Just a second. Just a second. Since I'll be Nadir's, unfortunately, I think modern day debates had your channel posted in the comments. We don't have it, so may I request you as a
Oh.
neutral person to announce your channel so that people who might be interested are able to see your content.
Yeah. My channel, I think if you put my name in Google, Nadir Ahmed, my channel comes up. I'm not in Google, in YouTube, my channel comes up first. And so you can definitely watch me over there.
Perfect. So it's 9:40. I'll let Brahmrakshas have the stream for 15 minutes for opening arguments. The floor is yours, Bia.
Thank you, moderator. And Nadir is very confident about this debate. So let us start to see what he has to say about these things, which I find scientifically wrong. scientifically wrong is an understatement. It's actually scientifically stupid. So I would like to start with Muhammad Sahab. Muhammad Sahab had a habit of commenting and giving advice on things he had no clue about. So let us start with his masterpiece called Quran and what he says in Quran, or in the words of Muslims, what his Allah told him in the Quran. In Quran, Allah tells Muhammad that he broke the moon in two parts. He split the moon in two parts. That's literal doomsday calling, because after that, Muhammad says that the end of world has come near. So that's one of 101 of politics, that you show an external threat to people and present yourself as a savior so as to get support from people. That is exactly what Muhammad did. And to do so, he used actually scientifically stupid things in his masterpiece, Quran. In Quran, he actually said that the moon was split, which we do not find any evidence of. And because I have done some research on what would happen if a moon lost its mass or moon disappeared, and the scientists say that the life on Earth as we know it would disappear if such an incident was to ever happen. That goes on to prove that this is just scientific stupidity in Quran. And just to tell you guys that making images of Allah and Muhammad Sahab in Islam is haram. So none of these images refer to Muhammad or Allah. These are just representations, pictorial representations for the better understanding of Muslims. Moving on to the next topic. Muhammad Sahab also says that in Quran as well as in Hadiths, that sun sets in muddy water. So, in fact, in one of the Hadiths, Muhammad Sahab says that gives that actually fact to a guy who never asked for it. That again reaffirms my point that Muhammad Sahab used to advise and suggest and state facts where it was never asked, and the facts are usually wrong, as stated by Muhammad Sahab. Muhammad Sahab also says that sky is a ceiling which can fall, break off, and be stripped away. That is understandable for a guy of for his time, because science wasn't developed back then. But that coming from Allah, who must know about his creation, because he's the creator. If he's spreading false facts about his creation, there are only two possibilities. Either he's not the creator or he is making fool of people. And the second probability is less probable, I'd say, because why would a god want to fool its own people about his creation? The next point hasn't loaded yet, I think. Yes. In Quran, Allah also tells that at a stage in embryonic development, fetus is a clot of blood. That is absolutely false and unscientific, and in fact, again, scientifically stupid. At no stage is an embryo a clot of blood. Allah also presents himself as a cool guy having the power of thunderbolt as Jews, which he uses to strike people he wants. And when he's not striking people with his thunderbolt or lightning, he has given it to, in hadiths, to one of his angels, which uses the thunderbolt to flock clouds. And that is, without saying, scientifically stupid. Allah also says that women have half the intelligence than men, and this is in context of testifying. Whereas the modern science clearly proves that the memory, which is very important in context of testifying or being witness of something, is found in most of the cases. In most of the cases and types of memory, women have better memory than men. So scientifically stupid again. Because Allah says that Rasul Muhammad Sahab is the best role model, and whatever he says with the will of God. So here's what Muhammad Sahab has said in hadiths, that Mormons have one intestine and they eat with one intestine, And kafirs, non-believers, eat with 7 intestines. So according to Allah, this is the anatomy of moments and non-moments. Okay,
Priya, I
I
need you
lost
to
it.
stop for a moment. Sorry, Nader seems to have been. Nader, are you there? You seem to
Yeah,
have been disconnected.
yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah, we can't see you. Something wrong with the camera.
Oh, okay. Let me fix that. I apologize.
Not an issue, not an issue.
So as I think there's some problem with my StreamYard. It's not showing most of the slides, so I'm switching to normal screen share. If you pardon me for a moment.
Yeah, now we can see you,
So
Nader.
Okay, thanks.
yes. So here's a clot of blood that Allah imagines the embryo to be in its initial stages. And here's the anatomy of non-moments according to Allah and His Messenger. And one of the most interesting things about sperm protection, he says in Quran, is that it originates and comes out from between the rib cage and the backbone, which is again scientifically stupid, as we know. The best role model, what he has to say about cleanliness and hygiene, which Nadir most of the time talks about, is that if a fly falls into your drink, you do not have to just throw it away. You have to first take it and squish it into the drink, because one of the what do you call wings of the flies has medicine, and the other has a poison in it. So that is scientifically stupid, as I've already said. So that is just an imaginary recreation of what would happen if in a very fly infested area. That is what your tea is going to look like. As I said, Muhammad Saab had a habit of giving unsolicited advice on things he had no clue about. He once told farmers that grafting is of no use, which resulted in a destruction of that whole crop. And after that, good about Muhammad is that he accepted that he is not always right about the worldly affairs. You have to just believe him, believe his advice on religious things. But he didn't stop giving advice about worldly affairs. As in Sunan Abi Dawud, Hadith number 67, he says that water from a well, which is
Right.
mixed with human poop and decaying corpse of dogs, is pure and good to do wudu with. And his advice is killing people till date. Recently, people in Pakistan, 87 people in Pakistan lost their life following this hadith, because they were infected with a brain-eating amoeba and they died because they believed in what Muhammad Sahab said. And again, actions speak louder than words. In Hadith number 312, he did not provide his women, his wives, with more than one garment which they used to wear during their periods, which resulted in a lot of, which they used to actually, when they got soiled with blood, they used to spit a saliva on and rub it off to clean it, which led to a lot of diseases, as accepted by Daniel Hakikachu in my previous debate. Severe cases of UTI, which resulted in vaginal discharge of pus and stuff, as accepted by Daniel Hakikachu. These are his words, not mine. The thing that pains me about these things, that even after saying so many stupid things about about the word, about the creation, one of the wives or slaves, who was also the mother of the children of one of his sahabas, complained and slandered Muhammad for saying all these stupidities that he said. What he did to that woman was, because he was blind and that woman was pregnant, he couldn't just kill him with a stroke of knife. He carefully went to that woman, placed a dagger on his belly, and pushed it until the baby, she was still pregnant, baby came out of her and the blood was on that newborn. This is the more censored version of the hadith. If you want the real hadith, you can read Sunan Abi Dawud. Let me just 4361. So his advice is scientific stupidities were killing people back then, are killing people now. And how can we forget about the camel urine? WHO and people have said that drinking camel urine is not good. And this is not me going into his lesser books, because when we go to the lesser books like in Dadul Mushtaq, there are suggestions of people eating actual human feces to show that they believe in God. So let us not go there. Let us stick to Quran and Hadith. And that's my time. If it's 15 minutes already.
That's 15 minutes.
I get it. That's actually 11 minutes, but still, we are, if you
Okay,
want to
I
surrender
still
your
have
time, that's
15
fine.
minutes.
We're doing opening
All right.
10 minutes, right? Because that's a
Okay,
lot
okay,
to
go ahead.
respond to.
You get 11 minutes
All
too.
right.
Oh, give me 1 second. Can I share my screen?
Sure,
Yeah,
sure,
sure,
definitely.
sure.
Okay, wonderful. Just give me 1 second. I get my little stopwatch here. Well, I thank you for that. You know, as I was mentioning, you very few people will be sitting in the position of my scientifically stupid friend heated debates, because the Quran and science has destroyed their careers. And from the atheist Christian perspective, people who've tried to challenge the Quran, they see this as now an unwinnable debate. So for my scientifically stupid friend, I'm going to teach him a little bit about science, and I will finish him in 20 minutes. That's my goal. I think you're going to see that. So how am I
All the
going
best.
to finish heated debate today? You see, he has not shown a single scientific journal or entry or anything reputable. Juxtapose it with the Quran and show a scientific contradiction. He threw a lot at me. I don't know if I'll be able to answer all of it, but what you are going to see is that none of it is based in science. It was his own wacky, quacky interpretation of science, because he's ignorant of science. And so let me go ahead and educate my scientifically stupid friend. And we're going to start with the moon split. Let me go ahead. I'm going to share my screen. He said, you see, he gave all this science today of what would happen if the moon really split. But what does science say about these things? So this is, first of all, the the mistake he is making is that he is misrepresenting the Quran and he's misrepresenting science, both together. First of all, what does this? If you looked at the Quran about the moon splitting,
Nadir, sorry,
yeah.
may I request for you to zoom a bit? Nobody can read it. Just if you can
Oh,
zoom,
I'm
people would be able
sorry.
to read.
Yeah, let me go ahead and zoom that a little bit. Apologize. So the moon splitting. Well, first of all, this, if you have read the Quran carefully, this is not talking about the moon splitting naturally. This is a miracle. So he misrepresented the Quran, and then he misrepresented science. So what does science say about miracles? Let's go over there and see what science says about miracles here. Okay, I'm quoting from the journal. This is how science work. I'm sorry, how stuff works. Listen to what they say, because this is relevant to moon splitting. This placed certain topics beyond the reach of the scientific method. Science cannot prove or refute the existence of God or any supernatural entity. So when the Quran talked about the moon splitting, then science cannot be applied here, because this is a miracle story, right? So, yes, if it happened naturally, then all the gloom and doom my scientifically stupid friend told us would happen. But this is happening from a supernatural perspective. And this is, notice how what I am doing, I am presenting scientific journals, authoritative. This is from the website How Stuff Works, which talks about, and I will be doing so, as I respond to him. What you're going to find is I'm not going to give interpretations or, assumptions or anything like that. I'm going to quote direct references. So my scientifically stupid friend, he was talking about Allah said in the Quran that the earth will, something about the falling of the sky or something like that. He said, there you go. You see, it's scientifically stupid. But what do you have to say about live science? And my screen is not coming up. Let me click on the link. Is talking about the exact same thing. This is from scientific journals from the website. Let me click on this link. You can see that. What if the sky fell? Whose words? Science. Notice how I'm refuting him with scientific journals. It is science who's talking about these things. Why? Because the atmosphere, if you just Google these things, which I don't think you researched, the weight of the atmosphere is I don't know how many tons. And so the scientists ask, what if the sky fell on us? Word for word question, which is found in the Quran. So let's move on to the next point. He talked about now another problem with my scientifically stupid friend is that a lot of what he presented is actually not found in the Quran. It's found in the Hadith. I guess I could go there, but you really need to show a scientific contradiction in the Quran, because if you go to the Hadith, it really will not prove anything, because again, it's a historical report. It is not, there's so many ways you could explain. I mean, if you were successful, which you're not, I will explain all of it from the fly and all of that stuff. But even if you were successful, it's just not going to discredit Islam if you cannot disprove the Quran, because the Quran is the word of God. What are you telling these people? I cannot find a scientific error in the Quran, but in the Hadith I found something. That's not what you want to do. I'm just trying to help you out, heated debate. If you do that, you will trigger that Islamic debate victory, because the word of God cannot contain scientific errors, right? And this is exactly what we're going to find. So let's first do the Quran, and then we'll move on to any other, to any hadith or something like that. So let's go to, he said, you see the Quran, it was talking about the clot. This is stupid. But who said it's stupid? Did he show any journal, any reference that this is wrong? What the scientists were actually shocked and amazed at the scientific accuracy of the Quran, that when it described it as a clot, okay, because there is first of all, it is a so here we see what is known as a double barrel delusion interpretation coming from this scientifically stupid person I'm debating with. It is a misrepresentation of science, because science does not claim that this is or have a problem with calling the embryo a clot. So it's a misrepresentation of science, and it is a misrepresentation of the Quran, because that word alaka, which he is quoting, it has three meanings. Clot is only one of the meanings. It means leech, it means something which is attached to, and finally it means clot. So any one of the meanings could work here, right? So his argument is destroyed over here. But here, I want all three meanings. Give it all to me. Do you know why? Because all three meanings are scientifically correct. The embryo does in fact resemble a clot. The embryo is something which is attached to, and the embryo does resemble a clot as well. So as you can see on my screen over here, there's a phase in embryonic development where you got blood filled inside this embryo, and then but the blood is not moving. It's just stagnant there, and it does resemble a clot. This has astonished many embryologists like Professor Keith Moore and other than them, who've actually talked about the scientific accuracy. And here's a picture of what a clot would look like. Here's Professor Keith Moore, and others, not just Keith Moore, TV and Prasad, and Dr. Marshall Johnson, who have talked about this word alaka, about its astonishing scientific accuracy. And here we go. We have presented the so-called clot error he's claiming to the scientists. Here is the article you see on your screen, in which we have presented that word to them about the clot. Okay, so is there any kind of error with calling the embryo a clot from a scientific perspective? No, this is perfectly fine to say that. In fact, it's scientifically astonishing to call it a clot. Then he also talked about, and I think, let me first very quickly do the Quran. So that's it. I finished him in less than 10 minutes. Everything else he presented is coming from the hadith. Oh, backbone. I'm sorry, backbone and ribs. That's one which is coming from the Quran. So let's address that. And so here's the backbone and the ribs. He says that, it talked about in the Quran that, that the, semen comes from between the backbone and the ribs. But science tells us that the backbone and the ribs can also refer to your rib right here and your tailbone, right? Isn't that also from between the backbone and the ribs? And we now know from modern science today that you've got the prostate, and then you've got this vas deferens, which is sitting on the prostate. The semen goes up right through there, and look at where it's located. It is located right between the backbone and the ribs. So this is actually a very beautiful discussion of where semen is ejaculated right here. So here's the ductus deferens. Right off to the right is a backbone. Right above is a rib. A beautiful description of ejaculation. Now comes for how I told you I'm going to finish him tonight. Look, I've presented many scientific references.
30 seconds.
You should produce one scientific journal, juxtapose it with the Quran, and show a contradiction. For example, here I have done, these two. This is from what's the name? Galen said blood is formed in the liver, but science says blood is formed in the marrow, in the bone marrow. I could take a person of the past and take a journal of today's time, show a contradiction between the two. I am challenging you in front of all your audience to do that with the Quran. And when you fail, then we can move on to the Hadith. And then I will school you and teach you about the fly and all the other things you were mentioning as well.
Time.
So go ahead.
Time. Yes, BR, the floor is yours for 2 minutes for rebuttal.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for your explanation. But the thing that you do not seem to understand is that whether the natural stuff happens naturally or by miracle, it would still have its impact on the nature. For example, according to you, Adam was created miraculously, but he is still having offsprings, and which we can feel the impact of which we can feel in nature, right? You get that point? So whether moon splitting happens by a miracle or naturally, it would have the same impact as in either of the cases, right? So that is a stupid argument on your side to say that if it happens miraculously, it won't have any impact. And then the second point, you said that sun setting place, you didn't comment on it actually.
I forgot. Yeah.
So, okay, no issues. So I won't be talking about it either. And the sky as a canopy, it is not talking about the atmosphere. And yes, there's a hypothetical article that you told about that it is talking about the atmosphere. But no, it is not talking about the atmosphere, because in the sky that is mentioned in Quran is also being stripped away in 81:11, and a sky which falls into pieces. That is not something that can happen with atmosphere falling in pieces. So here your Allah has successfully debunked you by telling that the sky is some solid piece of ceiling without holes, which he would strip away during the doomsday. And bad order you haven't commented on, because the earth is being created after the space, as you Allah says, and place of semen, as you rightly said. So Allah is a pretty bad communicator, I'd say, because something that is actually located between ribs and backbone is your lungs.
And time.
So stretching, it would be actually stretching it. To say that that means that rib cage is on the upside and the backbone is on the lower
Yeah, that's
side.
time. 2 minutes.
Sorry.
Yeah. So, the problem is you are bringing up a ton of arguments. Please, let's bring up one argument at a time. I can't respond. So I don't want anybody to be impressed by what heated debate is doing.
Choose your point. Choose your point.
Hold on. Please, let me speak.
Yeah, no speaking. No over speaking.
Yeah. So what my point here is just one. If I'm not answering like a majority of his objections. It's not because I can't, it's because he's throwing so many at me. So let me just, he said, look, it's stupid. It's saying canopy. It is saying that the Quran, or I'm sorry, that the Quran actually used the word canopy. Well, what does heated debate have to say? I'm going to share my screen here. Science is saying today that observations of the atmospheric is a canopy layer. Word for word agreement with the Quran and science.
Nadir, again a request. Nadir, can
Yeah.
you just zoom in? It's the same problem. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Here we go. There's the article. And yeah, if if you need a link, just email me and I'll send you all my references. So this is science which is saying it. But he said, you see, no. I'm sure if the moon split, there'd be some natural effect. What reference is he quoting from? What journal? Science has already stated that you don't apply science to this. So you see, it is him who doesn't want to accept what science says. I have already quoted my references. They say don't apply science to this. So God, of course, he's all powerful. He can do miracles in incredible ways without leaving any traces. That is absolutely possible for God. But what we're seeing here is a lot of what he's presenting is his own quacky interpretation. But what I am presenting is fact. Notice what I'm not doing. I'm not reinterpreting the Quran and making it fit with science. I'm literally pimp smacking him with facts, and he has no response. But now he has not answered my challenge. Look, you should be able to show a verse of the Quran, a journal from science, and show a contradiction. I can show you an agreement. Why can't you do that? Now, if you can't do it tonight, then just tell people I can't. I'm just giving my understanding of science so we can move on. I told you I'd finish you in 20 minutes. And this is exactly how I plan to do it. So go ahead. Look, I'm showing you journals. Canopy, I showed you what Earth falling or the sky falling. Word for word, I took the Quran verse, I took the journal, showed the agreement.
And time.
Do the same against the Quran.
Yeah.
Sure. We are yours.
So you said that the atmosphere is mentioned as a canopy in a certain article, but I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But that canopy, the kind of canopy that Allah is talking about, can be stripped away. Stripped away like a ceiling or a tent. And that is definitely not atmosphere or sky. And the sky that your Quran talks about has stars. Atmosphere doesn't have stars. See, here you can see for yourself. And let me show you another very beautiful ayah for you that would practically demolish your argument. See, it is 52:44. And they will see deadly piece of sky falling upon them. Still, they would say this is just a pile of clouds. So the canopy that your Lord is talking about can have its pieces falling down and can be stripped away. That is definitely not atmosphere, because atmosphere doesn't fall down in pieces. So what you're doing is in the fallacy terms, it is called a non sequitur argument, if I'm not wrong. And the bad example, I forgot the name of the fallacy, but that is what you're doing. And that this Quranic verse shatters your argument, my dear brother.
Mm-hmm. Well, you
30
definitely.
seconds.
Yeah.
Bia, you're done with your argument?
Yeah, go ahead. You can go ahead. Can we just
Nadir,
start
all
a
yours.
free-flowing conversation if Nadir, you're okay with it?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Can we just start with the free-flowing argument?
No,
where you can respond to me?
Yeah, 2 minutes
Okay,
back
you
and
want 2
forth.
minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so I think heated debate, he's nervous. He's continuing to shotgun us. Now I got to answer stripped away. I've got to answer pieces of the sky falling. Man, this is a lot to answer here. Don't worry, I can answer all of it for you. But I think you should just be honest with your audience here tonight and accept the fact you are not going to meet the challenge tonight, which I have presented to you and to everybody. I'm going to share my desktop here. Okay. And then I'll answer all these things. I've written them down. I'm sorry I'm not giving you quick, fast answers right now, but I will answer everything in due time. Okay. So let's go back to my presentation here. I'm going to share this here. Look, It's a very, very simple challenge for you, which I have presented to you. Okay? I have shown you from this example, the Roman physician Galen, blood formed in the liver. Science, from the website hematology.org. Blood is formed in the bone marrow. Here's my point. I could take a book of the past and I can take a scientific journal and I can literally show the contradiction between the two without any kind of reinterpretation. Let's take a look at another example. Here the Bible says that the mustard seed is the smallest seed of all. It's the smallest of all seeds. Palmora Community College article. Wrong. It's the orchid seed. The list goes on. I am asking you to answer this challenge. Show me a scientific journal and take a verse from the Quran and show the contradiction between the two. You will never be able to do that. That is what my challenge to you is. So now, if I just want you to come up and say, I can't meet that challenge, and then we can move on to sky falling, what all the other issues you've raised a lot, and then we can move on. So just be honest with your audience. Go ahead, please.
My dear Muslim friends, as you just can see that Nadir just ran away from the topic that he just picked on his own. And just because he cannot show his atmosphere falling down in pieces, he has completely tried to change the topic. And he now wants to talk about blood clot. So let us go to the blood clot. Dear friend, your argument was that at a certain stage in embryonic development, an embryo does look like a blood clot, but it also does look like a jelly bean. So why doesn't Allah compare that and calls it a jelly bean? Allah is not saying that it looks like a blood clot. Allah is saying that it is a blood clot, initial stages of embryonic development, and it is never a clot of blood. Different. And he said mustard seed. I don't know what does that have to do with Quran or anything. After telling people that to follow a person who calls that a shit smoothie is pure for people to do wudu, which has caused death and is still causing death of many Muslims who believe in him. And he still wants to compare it to some mustard seed. I didn't get his argument. I hope that in his chance he explains what he just said. And again, if I've got the time, I would just like to reiterate that Allah is not saying that it looks like blood clot. Allah is saying it is a clinging clot. Yeah. Even at a certain stage, an embryo looks like a jelly bean, but he doesn't say that it is a jelly bean. So looking like is not something that Allah has used in his verses. So go ahead.
Okay, so as I started out the debate, I told you I would finish him in 20 minutes, and it's well before the time. Let us show for the record tonight. Heated debate has failed in trying to show, he cannot, in my challenge, which I presented to him, show me a scientific journal, show me a verse in the Quran, and show a contradiction between the two. You can do that with all the books of the past. The reason why I brought up the mustard seed is just that I'm showing, it's a beautiful example of showing a contradiction with science, Heated. It's just a very good example. The debate topic is not about the Bible. I do understand that. But the example is beautiful. And that you cannot do with the Quran. So as you can see, heated debate was not able to answer the challenge. So the question I have now, what is different about the Quran? What is different about it where you cannot create that? You cannot take a journal from science and you cannot take a statement of the Quran and show a contradiction between the two. You can show word for word agreement, but you can't show contradiction. As I have shown to you today, the sky falling, the scientists say, what is a sky fell? Because the atmosphere of the sky is so many metric tons, blah, blah, blah. But you can't do that with the Quran. Now, again, I'm not running heated debate. As I've explained to everybody here tonight, you're throwing a lot at me. Okay, so let me deal with sky falling. Let's deal with one scientific issue at a time. and then we can move on to the next. But let's not do 5 scientific claims of errors, and I got to answer all 5 in my 2 minutes. Please, I'm an old man. Give me a break here. So let's do sky fall. I'm sorry, a piece of the sky falling. You see,
10
it is,
seconds.
it is, oh, well, I don't think I'll be able to answer that in 10 minutes, but I would just want you to just tell everybody here tonight, heated debate, you will not be able to meet my challenge. And then I'll come back up and I will do murky waters. I got to do piece of sky. And I think a whole list of things. I've got it written down and I'll answer you when I come back up.
Nadir, I gave you an offer to choose a topic of your preference. I just gave you that. You ran away from that topic. You ran away from the topic of falling atmosphere first, and then you brought it to clinging cloud and everything. Now you want me to show a scientific article, right? Let me show you something from Byju's. It is a leading platform for education. You can Google about it, and it has given all the stages of embryonic development of an embryo inside a mother's womb, and nowhere does it mention that embryo is a clinging clot at any stage. Clearly debunking your idea of embryo being a blood clot, basically. And then again, you want to come back again on murky water or anything. You just want to maybe jump there. So yes, your Quran and Hadith do say that sun sets in a murky water, warm spring water, and even your Muhammad Sahab was just spitting wrong facts everywhere when he decreased the general knowledge level of that person, when he imparted this piece of wrong information to that guy without being asked for it.
Mm-hmm.
That is what pains me. Go ahead.
He's quite desperate today here. Look, the journal he quoted, it said it doesn't, in the specific journal, it doesn't state clot. Do I need to answer this? Really? Do I need to answer? It's, of course, nonsense what he's presenting. If the specific journal, it's not denying it as well. This is the fallacy of heated this is called argument from silence. Okay, it's an argument from silence. If you want to say that from a scientific perspective, if you want to say that the embryo resembles, oh, I don't know, life itself, okay, fine. Nobody cares how you want to, what it means to you personally. Science doesn't care about these things, but he doesn't understand how science works. He himself finds it stupid. But now let me answer him very quickly on this, because you see, you have been refuted by the point that this word alaka you're talking about, it has 3 meanings. Clot is only one of the meanings. The other meaning is leech-like substance, like something which is like a leech. Did you know that? Okay, let me share my desktop. So either meaning will work here with the Quran if it has 3 different meanings. Like I said, all is okay. Science has no problem with the word clot. And so let's go to here. I'm showing you what the Quran says here. If you look at that word alaka, I know this is very hard to see. Let me go ahead and show you that. It's saying, this is, oh boy, that's really big. Now I'm quoting to you a scientific journal, Anatomy Demystified. Look what he says over here. Another membrane beyond the yolk sac, which provides nourishment for the early embryo. By day 24, the connection stalk appears in the middle of the now worm-like body. What did Allah say about this word? Isn't one of the meanings leech? Look at the word for word astonishing scientific miracle of the Holy Quran. So this argument has backfired upon him. Okay, number one, he never showed where science is against the word leech, but it has backfired on him because one of the meanings of that word
10 seconds.
is leech, and this is exactly the way scientists describe the embryo. And if you look at it, it does look like a leech. And let me see if I can get you a little picture over here. Okay, sorry about that.
That's time.
I'm so sorry. Nadir, you're a very sweet guy, and you're a gift that keeps giving. So Nadir, your first argument was that it does look like clot at a certain stage, and again I just busted your argument saying that it is never said in Quran that it looks like. It says that it is developed into a clot, and now you're saying it looks like leech. Then again, bro, that is even a more of a scientific blunder. If you say that drop of semen develops into leech, let me share your Quran for you, bro. That Nadir, before I destroy you, you're a very amazing guy. See, all your translations develop into a clinging clot, clot, clinging form. Here he say, because clot is generally said in all the translations. Drop a clot. Nowhere it assess that it is developed into something resembling a clot or looking like a clot. It is developed into a clot. And if you're saying that it can also mean a leech, my friend, let me just bust your bubble. At no stage in embryonic development is a human fetus a leech. That would be interspecies intermingling or something. If that was to happen, that would be science fiction. If a human male had sex with a female leech or something, because at no stage does a drop of semen in a mother's womb develop into a leech, because it never says that it develops into something looking like a clot or a leech. It says that it does develop into a clot. Or in your case, now that you've said, which, by the way, most of your scholars disagree with, a leech. So go ahead.
Okay, so the problem here is it's not really science that is contradicting the Quran. It's his own interpretation of what he thinks science should say. So but notice everything I'm presenting is based upon references. So let me show you how science works. Okay, let me share my screen over here. Listen to what this article about what this cardiologist, this is from the art. If you can read my thing here, moments for moment of health. Will
Could you
an
please zoom in a bit?
unfortunately, that's it. That's all I got. Let me see if I can open up the article. But here's what I want to focus on. The heart is a magnificent piece of machinery. What? According to heated debate, he's going to say a heart is not a machine. You see, from a scientific point of view, if you want to describe the heart as a machine, okay, that's fine. Even though it's not a machine. So if it's okay to describe the heart as a machine, then it's okay to describe the embryo as a leech, as a clot, and as something which clings. All three meanings do accurately describe that. But from a scientific point of view, like I said, the journal, we have already submitted the clot verse to the scientists. Nobody has had any issue with it. Please keep in mind, we have, and I showed you the article on that. So the issue, so what I'm telling you, heated, I'm explaining to you how science works. If you want to describe any organ of the body, like in this article, the heart is a magnificent piece of machinery, even though it's not, and the word like is not even in here, okay? That's perfectly fine from a scientific point of view. But from a heated debate point of view, oh, it's horrible. And I think that's what we gotta really focus here on. Is this so-called criticism coming from science, or is it coming from heated debates, understanding of how science should work? His interpretation. So, but I do want to point out he has failed miserably to show a verse of the Quran and show a science and show a contradiction between the two. If he has not met that challenge yet, so I will ask you to continue to try. If you can't, then just say so.
Dear sir, your argument falls flat because by definition, machine is a piece of equipment with moving parts that is designed to do a particular job. And that is exactly what heart is. With moving parts designed to pump blood throughout the body. So it is a biological machine. So I have no objection with that. You do not have to use the phrase looking like a machine for that sentence again. So you just messed up there big time. And then again, embryo at no stage of embryonic development is a clot, as mentioned by you, Allah. So now that you want to move to heart and machine and everything, let us just move to a better, my favorite topic. What do you have to say about the order of the creation? Was Earth created before the universe and the stars? Because a 7-year-old would disagree with you with knowledge in a school, I'd say. So go ahead.
Yeah. Well, before we get to the order of creation, I have jelly bean. I have a piece of sky stripped away. I have a whole bunch of stuff you threw at me. Well of dirty water. Let's finish the list of stuff you gave me here. Okay. Then now you want to run away and you want
Okay,
to
choose
talk
a
about
topic of your
all
choosing.
these
So
things.
you are the
Okay. Okay.
guest.
Hold on. Let me
Choose
please
your
allow me to
topic.
finish. Allow me to finish.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
without
no
uninterrupted.
overspeaking. Sorry.
So, what you should come forward and just admit to the people, you cannot show a journal of science and the Quran and show a contradiction between the two. The article you actually presented, is called, there is no contradiction. Just because the word clot was not mentioned in the journal, that is pretty pathetic and silly for you to do that, number one. That is not claiming, that is denying anything the Quran is saying. You need to show, listen, you need to show word for word a denial of something in the Quran. Okay, now, well, okay, it's not mentioned in there, is what you tried to show. That's not going to work. The example I gave was a word for word denial. Like, for example, the Bible, a mustard seed is the smallest seed of all. The word for word denial from Palmer College said, no, it's the orchid seed. That's a big contradiction. If you cannot meet that challenge,
10
then
seconds.
you should come forward, tell your audience, I'm not going to meet that challenge. Okay? So go ahead. It's your turn.
So what Nadir is trying to do here is really stupid. I must say that, because if I say Nadir is a monkey, would he be ever able to find an WHO paper stating that Nadir is not a monkey? Because science does not go disproving all the stupid statements that stupid people make. That is the thing. And in no book of embryology, which is currently scientifically accurate, does it say that embryo is a clinging clot. He doesn't get the simple thing right. I could claim in a book that embryo is actually a piece of coal at a certain stage. Would just science go on debunking that embryo is not actually a piece of coal at a certain point? Why doesn't he get this simple thing? He has to show me that embryo is actually a leech or a clot of blood at a certain stage in its development. Because I don't understand what is happening with the Mominians of this world. Why are they being so like illogical recently? And moving back to the point, he just wants to talk about the falling sky. He hasn't given anything about it. That atmosphere doesn't fall in pieces, and it cannot be stripped. And he also talked about the murky water. He hasn't said anything about it yet. That sun, in fact, doesn't set or drown in water. He hasn't said anything about it. He just wants to cling on to these topics because he thinks these are less shameful. So yes, we would give him the time to stick to stick to the topic of his choice. Let us talk about if you want to respond to this clinging clot argument, you can do
10
that. And
seconds.
if you want to talk about your topic that you mentioned, that sunsetting in warm water, you can do that too. It's your stage. Go ahead.
Mhm. So I made my promise earlier today that I would finish him in 20 minutes. I'm a little bit over, but it's okay. I believe I have met that challenge. You will not show a contradiction between modern science and the Quran. But then he tried to say that this is a stupid challenge. Well, no, not really. Not really. It's a very good challenge. Let me show you just how good of a challenge it is. You see, if you look at the books of the past, you could show that contradiction. Let me share my screen again. I did show it for you. It's not stupid at all. It's pretty good challenge. And then we can move on to all murky waters and all those other things. Look, I showed you from the Roman physician Galen, blood formed in the liver. No, it's in bone marrow. You could do that with all the books of the past, but you cannot do that with the Quran. Let me show you another example here. I showed you the Bible as an example. Yeah, here we go. Science today says that I'm sorry. Aristotle said that then again, it is impossible that the bees themselves should be some of them male, some of them female. Arizona State University, worker bees are all female. Direct contradiction. It's not a stupid challenge. You could look at Aristotle's works, Galen's works, the Bible. If you look at the books of the past, I could take an article from Science Today and show a direct, irreconcilable contradiction. You can't do that with the Quran. Allahu Akbar. So now let's move on to, oh boy, let me get my list here. The thing about the clot, as I showed you, this is his own personal objection. It's not a scientific objection. If you want to compare the heart to a machine, which it's not, okay, if you want to compare it to a clot, then that's perfectly fine if you're trying to get a message across to people. Science is not against against that. Okay. So, but what is astonishing was that when one of the meanings of the word is leech. So if you don't like blood, okay, chordo, blood ko chordo, go with leech. And that's what Dr. Keith Morgan did. I'm sorry, not Keith Morgan, Dr. Keith. I forgot his last name. He focused on the word, he focused on the word leech, and that is an exact description of the embryo as I quoted from the reference.
That's time.
And your chordo, I don't know if you're familiar with Urdu words or not, was pretty cute, but let me remind you, I don't know where bees came from and where they go again. Where would they go after this argument? But now my brother wants to see a clear contradiction of modern day scientific understanding to that what is mentioned in Quran. So let me show him a good contradiction. I'm going to share my screen. Please take my screen up, and I'm going to share the entire screen for my friend here. So Quran in Surah Fussilat, ayat number 10, 11, and 12 clearly says that the earth was created before the space
BR, your screen is not visible.
Okay. So Nadir wants to see a clear contradiction from Quran. Let me show him that. In Surah Fussilat, ayat number 10 to 12, it is clearly mentioned that...
Sorry, you're showing something else. I think you're not sharing the screen.
I haven't yet shown. Just wait for a minute. So let me show him that, in fact, science does contradict him because NASA says that the space in which the Earth exists, the Milky Way, in fact, is 13.6 billion years old. And the Earth, he talks about, which was created before the space, which contains stars and stuff, is just 4.543 billion years old. It is in clear contradiction with what is stated in the Quran. And I again don't know what these have to do with it. I hope you get this point. You
got to show the verse.
Surah Fussilat ayat, let me show you. 41. Then, so he placed earth, firm mountains, falana, falana. Then he turned towards the heaven. Then the word thumma is very well mentioned, which means then, indicating the lapse of time, what came after what. Then he turns towards the sky, which was still smoke, after the earth, mountains, and all the fruits and all that has been created in there. And then in 12, he forms, after creating the earth, the heaven into 7 heavens in 2 days, assigning each its mandate, and we adorn the lowest heaven with stars like lamps of beauty and for protection. So it is the same space that he's talking about that contains stars, which was formed after the earth, the mountains, and the trees and everything. So this is really stupid. And now NASA has clearly debunked you, because NASA says that the Milky Way, the space that you're talking about, is at least 13.6 billion years old. And the earth, which according to Quran was created, the mountains and everything that was created before the universe, is 4.53 billion years old. That is from National Geographic, and the Milky Way data is from NASA. So go ahead, your time.
Thank you.
Is the word bakwas in Hindi by any chance? I don't know.
Yeah, we use that after we read Quran and Hadiths.
Well, what you're giving me is bakwas. It's nonsense. I mean, I don't know how to respond because I don't know what the heck you're talking about. I mean, you're saying the Earth is 400 and some billion years old. Okay, that's fine, but I didn't see anything in the Quran which contradicted anything of what science is saying there. I mean, you just threw so much nonsense at us. I don't know how to respond. I'm like, what is this guy talking about? So actually, so I want to show everybody, just how silly you are. I want you to take my time, walk me through the Quran verse, and then show me the science, which is actually contradicting. Treat me like a baby here, okay? Just pull one verse and show me what you're talking
Just
about. Okay.
no suckling. I would
Okay.
treat you like a baby.
Okay. Treat me.
Okay,
Okay. Walk
let
me
us.
through this. What are you
All right,
talking about?
just hold, both of you
Okay.
hold on a second. Just
Yeah.
no crosstalks, no over speaking. Take your time, hand over the time, no overcross.
Okay. Just
Sorry.
just take one verse and show me what's being contradicted here from science. I don't get it.
Fair. I'd explain it to you like a baby.
Like a baby. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hand
like a
holding it.
baby. like a cute 72-year-old baby. I'd explain it to you. Dear sir, see, hear me
Okay.
out. If you have read Quran and Surah Fussilat, you clearly see that in verse number 10, your God creates earth, places mountain on it,
Mm-hmm.
and then blesses the mountains and the earth with vegetation. And after, in verse number 11, he uses the word thumma. Thumma means then, thereafter. He directs himself towards the heaven, the skies, which, and these skies, the sky he's talking about, the space he's talking about is the same space that contains stars and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which contains Milky Way. And it is happening after Allah has created the earth and the vegetation and stuff. And after that, in Surah 12, thereafter, so he formed the heaven into 7 heavens in 2 days, assigning it to each its mandate, and we adorn the lowest heavens with stars like lamp for beauty and protection. And he completed the 7 heavens within 2 days and inspired in each its command. And we adorn the nearest heaven with lamps, i.e., stars for beauty. So, dear brother, the scientific problem here is, scientific stupidity here is, the space in which the earth exists, which contains the stars, which contains the Milky Way, is much, much older than the earth. To prove that, let me show you something from NASA. So Milky Way is in the same space that earth exists in. In fact, earth exists in Milky Way. Milky Way and the space there is much older, about 13.6 billion years of age. It is Milky Way, and as of earth, it is just 4.53 billion years old, thus nullifying your argument, thus nullifying this ayah, which very illogically says that the earth was created, earth, the mountains, and the vegetation was created before the space in which the earth itself exists.
Yeah.
Are you getting the point now?
Well, let me ask you. I want to ask Satya. Satya, is that your name, the moderator? I want to ask you a question, if I may. Do you understand what he's talking about? Tell me, what is he talking about? You tell me.
You're seriously asking me?
Yeah. Ask. What are you talking about?
He's talking about the sequence of creation of items in the universe. He's saying if the earth was existing before the universe, the sky or the universe was created, how was the vegetation taking place like that? He's talking about the sequence of creation of events.
Okay, so that's your problem.
It is like saying that you were born before your father or your mother, because you existed in your mother.
Oh, okay, that's
getting the
perfectly
point.
fine. That's perfectly fine. So what you are saying over here, that he formed the heavens into 7 heavens, and I'm sorry. So you're saying that the sky or the universe was created before the earth? Is that what you're saying? I'm a little bit confused. Is that the problem?
The space wherein the stars exist was created before the earth, according to the science, but according to Quran, it was created after the earth. You get the point now?
Okay, so which verse are you quoting? That's Surah 41 verses
Surah
12, right?
Fusilat, ayat number 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah. Okay, so Surah Fusilat verses, in fact, let me pull up that on my side right quick here. Surah 41 verses, what was it again?
Ayat
It's
10, 11, and
Surah
12.
10,
Surah 41, ayat 9, 10, 11, 12.
9, 10, 11, or 12. Okay,
I
so
can
let's,
explain it to you in Urdu if you so desire.
no, I think I'm getting it. Okay, so what the verse over here, well, first of all, the whole argument can be destroyed and debunked, because as you can see in the verse over here, that this is talking about Allah creating certain things. This is so in the Quran, when it talks to you about creation, you've got things which are happening naturally, and then you have things which are happening supernaturally. The creation of our universe and our world, or the universe which we lived in, is something which is supernatural. So what does science say about the supernatural creation of the world we live in, the earth, things like that, as from the scientific reference which I quoted from you? Science is not to be applied to miracles. Simple. So it can be dismissed and debunked just like that. So the catastrophic fail of heated debate is, here's where he's being destroyed. The Quran talks a lot about the natural world. It talks about three statements of of C's, B's, and so many different things. Why is he not challenging the natural science of the Quran? Because the Quran talks a lot about that. Why are they focusing on Allah did this and Allah did that? There's things which are natural in the Quran. Look at him running away from the science of the Quran. Okay, don't tell me about how Allah did this, because this is perfectly acceptable. If Allah wants to create the earth before the sun, even, well, that's perfectly fine. He can do that. I mean, I'm just throwing out an example. So the problem here is he's nowhere near to meet the challenge. And you can see he's desperate. He's very desperate. He's nowhere near getting a statement of the Quran and showing the natural science of the Quran, of how the Quran is describing things work. Like, for example, the gender determination. Did you know that's mentioned in the Quran? I cannot say, oh, that's a miracle. No, that's something which the Quran does talk about these things. So here we see that there is a catastrophic retreat from the science of the Quran. And so all of what you're showing us is nonsense. And I will repeat my challenge. If you cannot meet the challenge, then just say, I can't do it. Let's move on to murky waters and the list of other stuff which you have. All right? Go ahead.
Okay. So is it my time now?
Yep.
Okay, so let me just understand your argument clearly. So what you just said is that you cannot judge it on scientific parameters because it was a miracle, right? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah. From a scientific perspective,
Okay.
they won't even touch
Okay.
it.
Okay. So science clearly proves that that miracle never happened, because space was clearly created before the Earth. Because Earth needs space to be created, dear friend. That is not how logic works. That is not how common sense works, right? Because the space where stars are, you need that space for the Earth to exist. A space cannot exist. A space cannot be created after the Earth has been created, because the Earth is in a space. That is not just miracle. That is scientifically and even commonsensically stupid, my dear friend. And you want to talk about now about you want to jump from this topic as well, and you want to talk about bees and whatever, like bees and Bible and whatever he said. The topic that caught my mind is murky water, right?
Yeah, let's do
So
that.
go ahead. What's your argument on sun setting
Sure.
in murky water? Go ahead.
Well, yeah, so you've actually misrepresented the Quran. The Quran doesn't say talk anything about space. Okay? What the Quran uses a word called sama. What is a sama? Which was often translated as heavens, which you have falsely interpreted as space. Sama is just some realm out there. Okay, some realm, some area which exists. And nowhere did the Quran say that that there was the earth and then space was created. That's not what the Quran says either. So you've misrepresented the Quran. But anyways, I think it is safe to say to everybody here tonight, you have given so many opportunities to show a contradiction between a scientific journal and the Quran, you are not able to do so. And that's something which I want everybody to ask, to basically ask themselves, what is it about the Quran that you cannot show any scientific contradiction with any journals? So let me very quickly address the whole thing about murky waters. You said, you see, the Quran says that the sun goes into a pool of murky waters or something like that. If this is what the Quran says, then the Quran is wrong, right? If that's what the Quran actually stated. But that is not what the Quran states. Rather, what the Quran states is that it taghrib in a pool of murky water. It's not saying that it goes into a pool of murky waters. Now, if you don't know Arabic or you don't understand it, that's not my fault. But look at how Jalalain explained what the word taghrib means. And this is hundreds of years before science was, people even knew these things. This is from an ancient commentary. Here's how he said what the meaning of the word is. It is described as seen from the perspective of the eye. So for the Quran to say that the earth taghrib into a murky water, perfectly fine. To say that it goes, that would be a scientific error, of course. But now Muhammad said, you know where the sun goes? Uh-oh. Did he say into a pool of murky waters? Very interesting here. So now Muhammad is clarifying for everybody here, for the people who are scientifically stupid also, what's the difference between taghrib and where the sun goes? So in the following hadith, he says it goes prostrates under the throne of God. That's where it goes. And then it asks to be rise up again. But what's very important here, he didn't say it goes into a pool of murky waters. Okay? It can taghrib that way, meaning it can appear that way. So where's the scientific contradiction again over here? I don't see anything. But anyways, I think that's my 2 minutes. I'll let you try to respond to that.
Yeah, I was just
Thank
letting
you.
it go on because you were in a flow. Just
Yeah.
a reminder, we are entering the last 10 minutes of the conversation. We have already gone through 3 minutes regarding that. 7 minutes remaining for to and fro
My
session.
favorite subjects is still topics still haven't come up. Okay, so
Can we
just to answer
extend?
this,
Can we
okay,
extend it?
yeah, we
Yeah,
can.
because I didn't get a chance to answer all your points. Yeah.
No issues. So first of all, his argument was that I'm misrepresenting Quran by saying that there's a time explanation there. Yes, there is, my dear friend, because in ayah number 11 there's a word thumma, which means then, which indicates that after the earth was created, the space was created. So you debunked there. And the sama thing, the sama point that you came up with is a very good point that generally Indian apologetics use. But to counter you on that, the sama that they are talking about is the same sama where stars are. So stars, it is talking about the same sama where the space where stars are, and which is definitely not created after. But again, and coming back to the murky point, and he said that so what? Rasulullah also said that the sun goes and prostrates under Allah, under the throne of Allah. I'm so sorry. So one stupid thing cannot be countered by saying that, see, here's another stupid thing. So what stupid thing do you believe on? No, my dear brother. Uh, Hadith Muhammad Sahib clearly states that the sun does actually set in warm water. And again, where's the throne of Allah? It is on water. So the sun actually is diving into water, going under the throne of Allah, prostrating before Allah, and then rising again. This is unbelievably stupid, my dear friend. I'm so sorry to say
10
that.
seconds.
Saying that to a good person like you really breaks my heart. But the book you follow is so stupid. Go ahead, my dear friend. You can take my time.
Oh, wonderful. So, first of all, let me start with your misrepresentation of the Quran. And I have to admit, I caught it late. I wasn't like really understanding what is this guy talking about, and that's my I apologize for that. But he has actually misrepresented Surah 41, verse 11. It says nothing for. So what he's saying over here, now I'm getting it. Verse 10 talks about the earth, and then it talks about verse 41. that now the heavens are created, which he's interpreting as all of space and time, which is another quackological interpretation, but that's okay, because verse 41, verse 11 states nothing about when the heaven was created. And for that matter, verse 10, the verse he quoted, that doesn't tell us any time, it doesn't give us a time of when the earth was created. It's just talking about these things. So he has actually misrepresented the Quran.
Sir, I
You see,
presented
and
your
that
screen.
is, and so can you see my screen? Can you see my screen, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So as you can see, everything is just a misrepresentation of the Quran. Verse 11 states all it says here. Then he turned towards the heaven when it was still like smoke, saying to it and to the earth, submit willingly or
Nadir,
unwillingly.
sorry. Nadir,
Yeah.
Nadir, sorry. The ayat visible on the screen is number 12.
Oh, I'm
In case
sorry.
you're reading 11.
There you go. There you go. So when these things were created, the Quran doesn't say. I hope you can all see that. So he has misrepresented the Quran, and he also was so stupid he didn't understand the difference between taghrib and yadhebufi or tadhebufi, meaning one means what it would appear and when it physically enters, because he doesn't understand the Quran. He doesn't understand. Look, I'm sort of okay with Arabic, you could have at least learned this so that you could participate and speak intelligently in these type of debates. But yeah, nowhere in the Quran does it say that the sun physically enters a pool of murky water. Okay, it doesn't say that. If so, I challenge you here. Show it to me. Okay, it said it taghrib, and as Jalalain said, that this is as appearing from the perspective of the eye, and that was a commentary written hundreds, 600 years ago, when people really didn't know a whole lot about science. So I will ask you, and I will challenge you to here, right in front of everybody here, to see who is stupid here tonight. I'm challenging you, any hadith, any verse of the Quran where it says that the sun physically goes into a pool of murky waters. Okay? If you can't meet that challenge, then just say so. I can't. Probably because, and you don't really need to know Arabic. You could just read the English. And whenever it doesn't say physically going, it always use the word set. You could do that. So please answer my challenge, and then we'll move on to the other points. Go ahead, please. Where does
For
it say
sure,
it physically enters?
Okay, for sure. I accept your challenge, my dear brother.
Yeah.
And first of all, the quackery, your word you did here is that you refuse to read the word in the ayat 10. Then this little simple word indicates that what comes after and what comes before. The Lord looks at heaven when it was still smoke before forming it and after creating the earth in ayah number 10. So you're absolutely debunked here by the simple word then, which in Arabic is summa, thumma, as you call it. And then again, is my screen visible though? Okay. And let me just ask you. So you think that the Quran actually says that the sun appears to be setting in warm water. It is not actually setting in warm water. And as much as I know about Islam, one who tells lies in the name of Quran and Islam goes to Jahannam, hell. So if there's a Muslim who says that a sun actually does set in water, murky water, would you be able to call him a Jahannami with me, please? Let us do a free-flowing conversation for a minute.
Yeah, the problem is heated. I think where the problem is you don't understand the language of the Quran. And as I have pointed out to you, that word set is taghrib. Every time you see set, it's taghrib. So nowhere does it say it physically goes into a pool of murky waters. And Muhammad himself already clarified it. He said, you know where the sun physically goes? And that's when it said it goes under the throne of God. So yeah, my challenge to you is, where does it say that the sun physically goes into a pool of murky water?
Okay, Chisha, that is a very well point. And you said that you don't need to know Arabic to just debunk your
On this point, I don't think
little
so,
argument. Let me just give you the scholarly translation of what I was saying. But first of all, can you tell me that whoever tells lies in the name of Islam is a Jahannami, right? And whoever says that sun does actually set in warm water, it's a Jahannami. Do we agree on that? If anybody says that.
You no, the sun, when you look, you're reading, see the problem heated, you are reading an English translation. Wherever you see that word set, okay, which you're quoting from, the word, it's being, they're translating the word tagreb. And the word tagreb means as appear to the eye. That's just the way it looks. Okay.
So let
So
us just say that
go ahead.
whoever said that sun actually does set in murky water is Jahannami. Can we say that? Can you say that?
No, because you're misunderstanding.
Okay, no,
Okay.
no, not
No.
my misunderstanding. So what I'm trying to say is that whoever said that, right?
Okay.
Forget it.
You're
That
wasting
may be
everybody's
my
time.
misunderstanding.
Yeah, you have a
Could you please
misunderstanding. You're
just say
wasting
that?
everybody's time. Where does it say the sun physically goes into murky waters? Where does it say that explicitly?
Okay, dear viewers, as you can see that this guy is not accepting that whoever said that sun actually sets in murky water is Jahannami, because he too knows that his Rasul said that. Let me
Yeah,
show
it's
you the
fine.
hadith, guys. And that is why he's not willing to say it. Because
Show
if
the
Rasul
heated. Show the
hasn't said
hadith.
that,
Show the hadith.
okay, Rasul hasn't. Okay, I'm so sorry. This is the wrong hadith. I'm so sorry. Let me just bring out a good hadith for you. It's Sunan Abi Dawud for 002 actually. Just a moment. Sunan Abi.
Just to keep it in mind, BR and Nadeed, this is the last conversation for like 2 minutes. After that, we'll go for closing arguments.
So
Okay.
even if this is a wrong translation, which is in fact done by his scholars, if Muhammad hadn't said it, he should have no problem in claiming that yes, that guy is Jahannami. Whosoever says that
He
the
did.
sun does. So
Can I
just a
interrupt
moment.
you
Let
for
me
one
complete.
second? That the
Let me
word, the
complete.
hadiths are, yeah, okay.
Let me just complete. I'm so sorry. The fact that he's not accepting that whosoever said, because according to him this is the wrong translation and Rasulullah never said it. The fact that he's having problem in accepting that whoever said false, that sun does actually set in murky water is a Jahannami, explains to you, dear Mu'minins, that he too knows that his Rasul said exactly the same, which is on your screen, guys. Sir, all your time.
Okay, can I take the screen reel? I'm going to present, in fact, let me present the same hadith you're quoting, and I'll show you that the word for set there is tagrib. All right. Do you see that? Now I'm going to give this to you, so you can, because I think where the problem is, heated debate, you don't have a good understanding of Arabic. So where your big mistake is, listen to what you're seeing. Look, it says over here, I was sitting behind the messenger of Allah who was riding a donkey while the sun was setting. He asked, do you know where the sun sets? I replied, oh, Allah's messenger. And then, knows best. He said, it sets in a spring of warm water, Hamia. That's perfectly fine, because look at what I'm underlining for you. That's the word taghrib. He's using the word taghrib here. What does taghrib mean according to Jalalain? That which appears to the naked eye. It just appears that way. Okay? So I will give this to you so that you can do the research, because it looks like you haven't done any research on this. And now I will also show you the following hadith over here. Oh, here's a reference I'll show you where Jalalain talks about the meaning of that word. It is described as seen from the perspective of the eye. And now I will also show you this hadith right over here. Now Muhammad said, do you know where the sun goes? Uh-oh. Now he's talking about where it physically goes. And I underlined it for you here. Tadhab. That means it's physically going. This word tadhab is even used today in modern Arabic. They'll say that. Ain't it tadhab? Where are you going? Okay. So what's important here is now in this hadith, he's explaining where the sun physically goes. And what's important here, he doesn't say it goes into a pool of murky water. It said it prostrates under the throne of God, which, by the way, is scientifically acceptable. But you say, oh, this is all stupid. No. You not understanding the difference between tadhab and taghrib is stupid here. Okay?
Is
You
this
should
time
not
up?
call the Quran stupid when you yourself are ignorant of it. All right. So as you can see, he has not been able to meet my challenge today, showing where the Quran said it physically goes in a pool of murky waters. The Quran, the Hadith, it doesn't say that. These are his own wacky, quacky interpretations. As for that word thumma doesn't mean create. You are misrepresenting Surah 41, and you're also misrepresenting this verse here. All of this is a fake argument. Fake stands for false assumption of the ignorant, credulous people. These are all fake arguments which you are presenting. And if the moderator is okay with it, I would like to take all your
Mr.
arguments.
Moderator, is this time up or
Yeah.
are you
Well,
sleeping?
hold on a second. He's probably
Yes,
sleeping.
I was just letting him finish. Yeah.
Well, my appeal to you is just like how we can have a free flowing discussion. Let's take each and every one of these verses of the Quran one by one, and I will show you you are actually ignorant of what the Quran teaches, and it doesn't state what you're saying. Okay, so if we could take a little bit of time, if that's okay, if you're up for that challenge, and I will show you you are misrepresenting the book. Go ahead.
BR is up to you.
Mr. Moderator, please, I request you to take good care of the time, right?
Fine.
So,
My apologies.
no issues. So my dear friend said that, first of all, none of his scholars have translated that word as appears to be setting. Because then this conversation that Muhammad Sahab is having with his Sahaba would be so illogical that you cannot even comprehend it. Because they both can see the sun setting in the warm water and still they are having this conversation, that this conversation would lose any logicality, if that's a word. Such an useless conversation when they both can see the sun setting appearing to be setting in warm water, and still this guy is asking, do you know where the sun sets? That is the reason why none of the scholars have translated it as such in any book of Bukhari. It is clearly not saying it appears to be setting in a spring of warm water. And then again, he says that, as previously I have mentioned, that one stupidity cannot counter the another stupidity, because sun at no time goes under the throne of Allah. And if it does, my dear friend, you must know the Quran, that the throne of Allah is also on the water. So if it has to go under the throne of Allah, it has to go into the water. So you have just debunked yourself massively. I sometimes doubt if you're an ex-Muslim, in guise of Muslim and trying to make this world a better place by bringing in such bad arguments. Please respond to me, sir.
Yeah.
How? Yes. Go ahead.
So I have presented a clear challenge for you. You see where what you could have done, you could have shown, because whenever it talks about the sun setting, it's always using that word tagrib. You could have shown that this is referring to the sun physically entering into the murky waters. You did not. So now you're saying it's just a useless conversation, but that's called shifting the goalpost. Whether you think this is useless or purposeful has nothing to do with science. We are here to look for scientific contradiction. You say now it's going under the throne of water, but then it has to go into under the throne. It has to go into the water. This is another fake argument, a fake, false assumption of the ignorant, credulous person. No, it doesn't. I don't have to go into any kind of detail on that, because that's not what the Quran said, that it has to physically going into the waters. So I do want, since you have failed to, I don't want to go any more on murky waters, because it's very clear here you don't really understand the Arabic of the Quran enough to start debating it in an intelligent way. So what I would like to do, I'd like to go through some of your other arguments, like, for example, pieces of the sky following. Can we do that? And I will show you where your error is on that. Okay. So the hadith you got quoted up there is perfectly fine from a scientific point of view. Let's move on to some of your other points. I think we talked a lot about this. So the verse which you quoted is chapter 34, verse 9. What do the translations say? Look what the Quran says here. It's going to be a
15
piece
seconds.
from the sky. Do you see that? Min. Min means what in Arabic? It means from. Okay. I've got you a link here. It's talking about min, what min means. All right. And so this is what our sky looks like, as you can see. Tons of
That's kind.
sky fragments everywhere. A piece from the sky will hit you. Go ahead.
Thanks a lot, Nadir, for this beautiful response. You're a gift that keeps giving. And let me tell you that you said that I was wrong in saying that Allah's throne is on water. It is your Quran. It is your Allah debunking you. So it is 11:7, where Allah clearly states that, okay, the heaven 6 days, and the throne had been upon a water, bro. So this is your Quran saying, and thereby you stand debunked once again. And then coming to you're jumping the point, and we have already talked extensively about the atmosphere falling. So I would like to move to some interesting hadiths, and we have already talked a lot about Quran because hadiths are one of my favorite books to read when I'm alone. And you talking about Jalalain, trust me, bro, you have by now understood me, and you don't want me going to Jalalain. So better correct your argument there.
Just to remind both of you, we are past 15 minutes the duration of to and fro. We are going to continue for a while. After that, we'll go for closing arguments.
Let's
keep
do
it
a.
in mind.
Can we do a free flowing discussion just so we can address some of his other points here? And
Okay, so
10 minutes,
why
10 minutes
say
between
that
you two.
but give
women
me an
have
opportunity. Okay,
women
throne.
are
Can I answer throne
deficient
above
in
water?
intelligence?
Can I answer throne above water?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. So just a moment. You can continue speaking. I just have to get
But
a
bring up
cigarette.
one point. Just bring up one point at a time.
Actually, Nadir, I actually cut across Brahmrakshas to announce the time period. So I'll just let him continue for a moment.
Okay, let's have a free flowing discussion so I can answer one point at a time.
Now that you can, you're lagging behind at the debate, so I give you just these 2 minutes, and I have to
Thank
go
you.
get something. So just time is yours, sir.
Okay, so yeah, the Quran does say the throne is above the water, but nowhere does it say that the sun is going to enter into that water. That's your fake argument, false assumption of the ignorant. Okay, now I didn't get a chance to address all your points, but nobody be impressed if I'm not answering all these issues. It's because I can only really deal with one at a time. The issue, I think, what if you're going back, I want to take you back to your misrepresentation of the Quran. I hope it's very clear to you what the text says over here. The text of the Quran in chapter 34 verse 9 says, it is a kisfan, a piece, min al sama. Min means from. I got Arabic 101 here for you. Okay, that's min, from the sky. So and what's the sky? Well, actually, sky is only one of the translations. It's from the heavens. Most of the translations say from the heavens. What does our sama sort of look like here? That's what our sama looks like. Tons of space junk. That's what it's called. But not only that, but you got comets, you've got other meteors. So from a scientific point of view, Surah 34 verse 9 is perfectly fine. And I think the ignorant people, the false assumption of the ignorant, credulous person, that's what fake stands for, they will read that and they will say, look, the sky is solid. They will make that false assumption, but that's their misreading of the text. So go ahead. Do you have any defense on that?
First of all, I didn't quote that verse. I was quoting 52:44, which clearly states that sky is a ceiling, the pieces of which fall.
Oh, sky
that
ceiling?
That is utterly stupid. And moving to the topic, because we have to cover a lot, I have to expose Islam a lot. So
can we do one at a time?
Yeah. Go ahead. 52:44. The sky. Let me just make this argument very clear for you. Just make you understand like a baby. In 21:32, it says that the sky is a ceiling. In 52:44, it says the pieces of which can fall. And in 81:11,
whoa, one verse at a time, please. One verse at a time.
52:44, sir.
Yeah, 52:44. And I did quote for you life from the article, life on Earth's ceiling. So here is word for word.
Could you please open Quran? Because according to Quran, this is a ceiling, the pieces of which can fall. and people would
Okay,
think that these are the clouds.
Whoa. Let's do
this?
ceiling. I can do one at a time, and then we'll go to the other verse. And so let me quote for you the life on Earth's ceiling. So saying that the Earth has a ceiling is perfectly fine. And so we're done with that. So what other verse are you quoting now? Which one?
The type of ceiling that Quran talks about gets its pieces falling.
What verse?
52:44.
52, Surah 52, verse 44. Okay, and I think I might have addressed this already. Surah 52, verse 44. It says over here, it says that, and yet if they who refuse to see the truth were to see a piece of the sky from the sky following, that's what it states over here. So let me share my
piece of the sky from the sky.
Okay, no, that's not what.
Are you lying straight to the audience?
Let's see who's a liar. You want to do that? We want to see who's a liar?
Let's put it let's put it across the screen so everybody can see.
Let's see who's a liar. Okay, here we go. This is the verse you quoted. This is exactly what I was telling you. It's an identical verse which I quoted from you. Look what it says. That this is inna yaro. This is talking about seeing. Sorry about that. Kisfun, the piece, min, from the sky. Do you see that? Oops, sorry about that. This is the verse you quoted. What does min mean in Arabic? Min means from, right?
Yeah, let me show you what your scholars understand.
Whoa.
Let me show you.
Wait a second. Don't run away. Bagomat. Don't run away.
I'm not running. I'm not running. I'm trying to show what your scholars say about the same ayah. Please.
You need to address my argument. When you
I am addressing your argument, and I'm saying that you're lying.
No, hold on a second. Chill out. What I'm telling you, first of all, we need to understand what the Quran is saying here. Do you understand? And you need to say yes or no. And if you can't understand the Arabic, I've got a tutorial for you on it.
Nadir Chicha, can I please show you what your scholars say?
No,
please, can I just show it?
No, I'm telling you no, because I'm first telling you what does the Quran state. Do you understand that this verse, which you were calling me a liar, you are saying, no, it's not saying that. The verse here is saying a piece from the sky. Can you see that? Look what it says here. If you go Control F, from the sky, from the sky, from the sky, from the sky, from the sky,
but fragment, a part of sky, bro.
That's not what it says. Okay, so what's happening here? You are spinning the text to make it mean what you want.
No, bro, I'm just telling you what your scholars say. Please let me.
No, wait a second. You should first address what the Quran is explicitly stating. You should have that level of expertise.
That is what I'm saying.
Listen,
that is what your scholars understand from Quran. Scholars much more educated than you in Arabic. That is what I'm showing. Can I please show to the audience?
No problem. Go ahead and quote. But what I want you to understand that you said I was lying, and I'm not lying. The word min means from, and that's what the Quran is stating, from the sky.
But that is a fragment from the sky.
Yeah,
the fragment from me would be a part of me.
Kisfun means peace. Go back and look at the different translations which I showed you.
Exactly. A piece of sky is falling. Let me just explain it to the audience.
From the sky.
Yeah, piece from the sky. The sky that is ceiling. The piece from that is falling. Now, a fragment from roof falling is part of that roof.
Okay. So you've got another mistake. You've got two mistakes. The first one,
that's a mistake again. Okay, go ahead.
First one in your misunderstanding was the word from versus of. That was your first mistake. The second mistake is the word sama is used there, which can be translated as sky, can be translated as heavens. That's why when you go back to the link which I sent you, which I showed you, there's 64 translations. Some of them are translating as heavens, some of them are translating as sky. Let me get you that link.
So now the sky is what for you?
Well, so the word sama could mean sky, and it could also mean heavens.
For you, what is it?
Well, it's open. So it has two meanings. It could mean sky, and it could
According
mean
to you, what
this
is
realm.
In this ayah, what does it mean?
In this meaning, I would say so. I would go with heavens. It could mean because the link which I sent you, which I actually showed you, it some interpreters interpret as heavens, sky. So it's open for interpretation. Is basically what that issue is. Let me see if I can get you the link.
So you basically accepted that in 2132 it's the sky, that is the ceiling that the Quran is talking about, and suddenly, now that the the fragments are falling from that ceiling, are
Yeah.
still part of that ceiling.
Whoa,
So
wait a second.
sky, your atmosphere, your canopy around the world is falling in fragments, my dear brother.
No.
This is
Let's
scientifically stupid.
no. What you're saying, your understanding of the Quran is probably stupid, but what the Quran is explicitly stating in this verse over here is that if you look at
And
yeah,
Abdul Halim says, saw piece of heaven falling.
okay.
I'm so sorry. This is funny.
Okay, so now you want to go to the tafsir? Okay, let's go to tafsir. So what did
No.
Abdullah say?
You would never
Yeah.
want to go to the tafsir because
Let's go there.
what
It
amount
will,
of
you see,
idiocy is
okay,
written there,
okay.
right? Let us go.
You see,
Let us stick to the verse,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So you see, if you go to tafsir, you will get barbecued. I'm telling you that right now.
Do you want to
You
go to
know,
the tafsir? Are
because
you
you
sure?
see, yeah, okay. I tell you what. Why don't you? If you want to go to commentaries, what that means, let's make it clear what's happening here. Why is heated running to
You know,
commentaries?
then the
Oh,
new
let
whale.
me.
I'm not running. You're
Hold
running to
on.
the commentaries, but you know,
But
then the
I
new
want
whale
to
is
take you there.
whale is coming, right?
Yeah,
Sailing
let's
through the
go there. Sure.
ocean of Allah.
You're gonna get barbecued again, heated. I'm telling you, don't do that. I'm
Dude,
warning
you're
you, don't
barbecued
go
here.
there. Okay, you're
You're
not taking my
barbecued here.
advice? You don't want to take my advice? Go to commentaries and I'll barbecue. Go ahead.
You're the one trying to go to the commentaries, right?
No, let's go.
And
Let's go.
okay, now that I have proven that the fragment of the ceiling are falling, that the fragment, if you say
Oh,
the fragment from your roof is falling, it is still part of the roof that is falling, my dear brother, and that is not something that happens with the atmosphere. That you equated the sky and Quran to with that stupid article of yours. I'm so sorry for using that word again and again. I would try not to use that word because you're elder and I should respect you. Again, moving because as you wanted to, and you have made a lot of jalebis on the topic, and you have been talking about it for half an hour, including the time that you talked about it in your initial debate. So, can we move to my favorite topics, 312 and the well of Buddha and everything, if you want to answer them?
I thought you wanted to go to the commentary.
Okay, forget the commentaries. Let us stick to the text.
Okay, you want to stick to this? What's okay? So first of all, going back to you need to understand every time it talked about the piece from nowhere does it say piece of the sky. That's really not in the Arabic text. It's piece from the heavens. So that's that is the way it should be translated.
That is
Yeah.
that is not what I'm contesting.
Okay, so what's your next point? What's your next point?
Get the point. So
Yeah.
a piece, a fragment from roof is still a fragment of that roof.
But that's not what the
Get this
Quran
point.
says. That's not what
That
the
is
Quran says.
exactly what Quran says in 2132. The sky
Okay,
is the ceiling.
let's go to that verse. What are you talking about?
2132.
Surah 31. 31.
21.
What is it? Oh, I'm sorry.
2132.
21 verse 32, right?
Yeah.
We'll go to the website Islam Awakened, which will show you all the different translations of it. 2132, right?
Yeah, I can open it for you here. Don't worry.
Okay. Well, let's let me share my screen just so we can see what you're talking about here.
Your screen it is.
Okay, let's look at yours. Let's look at yours. That's good enough. Well, actually, I've got all the different translations here, so
I
which
have
can
got them
help you
too.
out.
Quran.com is a pretty
Okay.
decent website.
And so,
And we have made the sky a well-protected canopy.
right.
We have made the sky a protected ceiling. We have made the sky protected a protected roof. I don't know what kind of English is this, but yes. So the fragment from that roof is falling.
Yeah.
And people are saying that it is just the clouds.
Okay, now let me show you your misunderstanding of the ayat over here. Okay, if you first of all, when you look at this word sky, this is 64 translations of the. Oops, sorry about that. This is 64
Let me share it to
translations of
you,
the.
dear sir.
Hold on. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So as you can see, the word is being translated as heavens and sky, both. Why? Because the word has these dual. The word sama has this dual meaning. I'm just hitting enter here. You're seeing they're quoting it as heavens. Now, in this verse over here, it says nothing about anything falling. It's saying that the heavens as a canopy, which is scientifically correct, because I showed you the example from science are calling the sky above us as a canopy. So there's
But it is
perfect.
not the kind of canopy
Okay.
from which pieces fall off.
Okay,
Why don't
now,
you get the
but
simple argument here?
but you don't get the simple argument that the word sama, which is being translated, it could mean sky or it could mean heavens. That's
So-
where your argument fails, because it has both meanings.
Neither the
But
sky nor
both
the
are actually
heaven is a canopy from which pieces can fall off.
okay. Let's go to that verse. What verse are you
Are you
talking about?
7th standard guy?
Okay, look, where you are having a problem is, even if the Quran is saying a piece from the sky, it's okay. Why? Because the sama, which is being translated over there, has no limitation. So how much of the sama is being interpreted as sky? So the word
So what
sama
Sama is a
has.
canopy, is a
So
roof
your
from which
Let
pieces
me ask you
fall
a
off.
question.
Please tell me that.
Heated. Do you understand that word being translated, sama, it doesn't have a limitation? Or do you know of one that I don't know of? Yes or no?
Dear sir, dear cute sir. What I'm
Okay.
asking is,
So the
what is your
answer is no.
understanding? Hear me
Yeah,
out.
okay.
What does you can take it heaven, the space, or the sky? Which of the three is a ceiling from which pieces fall off? Please tell me, sir.
Okay, so what I told you is sama means heavens, it means sky, and either translation, you're really not going to find any limitation of where this is. Yes, a piece from the sky can fall and hit you. That is a scientifically accurate statement. Let me show you. Now, can you guys see my screen? I'm going to quote for you Space Junk. Let's just take a look at some of the images over here. Here is a piece from the sky which can hit you and kill you. But it's not just that, but you in the sama, in the heavens, you also have meteors, you have comets. So the Quran is scientifically accurate over here, as you can see from. Let me just open up one image for you over here.
Dear Nadir, neither the satellites nor the meteors are fragments of a ceiling.
That's what are you talking about? Fragments? What are you talking? This is kisfun means a piece from the sky, from the heavens, a piece from the heavens, as you can see here. That's perfectly acceptable.
Fragments of the ceiling. None of them are fragments of the
It's
ceiling
not.
called
That's
sky.
not what you are falsely interpreting it as of a
Let me
ceiling
let me
of a
let me
solid
let me
ceiling.
show you the correct translation
Okay.
to you, sir.
Okay.
Nowhere in any science is a satellite a fragment of a ceiling called sky. Let me just go to 5244 again for you.
5244.
It's really a baby.
Surah 5244.
You opened 4444.
Yes, sir, I'm so sorry.
Okay. Well, let's look at
And if they were to see fragments from the sky falling,
yes,
satellites
that's fine.
are not the fragments of the sky, my dear friend.
It is. Listen to the first of all, the two failures you're having in this argument. Number one, that word sky is also translated as heavens. Number one. Number two, the limitation of where that sky ends is nowhere mentioned in Quran or Hadith. We actually don't know. Remember,
That is
Adam
not the
is in the.
problem. We
Hold on.
can consider
Hold on,
them all the
Adam,
three.
Adam
Okay,
is
yeah.
in the first heaven, right? That's a hadith. So we see here, we don't know the limitation of what that first heaven. And what it's saying over here is that there will be a fragment, or it could be anything. A kiss means a piece, like as you can see, some say piece, fragment, whatever, which will fall from the heavens, which could kill you. That's perfectly scientifically acceptable.
See, we can. So if you're trying to play that jalebi, where heaven can mean, the sky can mean anything. Heaven,
Yeah.
the atmosphere, or the sky, right? Let me just clarify it for you.
That's what the
The word
translation.
used here is same, and I'm going to share the screen for you. So neither of the three, the atmosphere, the sky, the space, is a ceiling from which it's a fragment can fall off. Let me clarify this for you in a single screen share.
Yeah.
Okay, just see. You see this 2132, and we have made the sky a well-protected canopy, right?
Yeah.
So sky is a canopy,
Yeah.
and in
The heavens.
in 50 to 44, the fragments of that ceiling, the canopy, are falling off. And
From.
maybe you can take it as heaven, the space, the solar system, the galaxy, or anything. None of it is a ceiling from which fragments fall off.
Yeah, it is.
Simple,
It is.
clear.
Okay, that's your okay. So what? Let me see if I can understand your understanding here. You are saying that the sky is a cat, or well, what it? First of all, you need to understand that the word which is being quoted here is it could mean heaven, or it could mean sky. But either interpretation, we don't know the limits of what those things are because Adam is in the first sama. Okay, so where that is, we don't know. So if you want to say that there is a fragment, a piece from that sky that can come down, that's acceptable. And we know that for a fact. We've got a lot of junk up there in the sama, in that sky. So there is no scientific issue here other than your wrong understanding. What you are thinking that there's a solid sky and it's going to break off and it will fall down upon us. But that's not mentioned in the Quran. You are interpreting that into the Quran. You see?
It is actually a solid sky with no holes, and it is clearly
Okay,
mentioned.
where does
So
it
you
where
have
okay, good.
so
Where
okay.
does the
We go.
Quran say it's solid?
Hold,
Where does it say
hold,
this? You
hold a
win
minute.
if you can show it say solid. Show me
Hold a
where it
minute.
says the
Hold a minute.
sky is solid.
Hold a minute. Hold a minute.
Yeah.
You have your understanding of those ayahs, your interpretations, and I've shown the public what the general consensus of your scholarly consensus is about the sky. So
I'm
let us
giving
move
fact.
to a different topic.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. I'm giving
I
you
quoted
fact, not
quoted your
interpretation.
scholars, Nadir. I quoted
Okay,
all your
keep
scholars.
going. What's the next one? What's the next one?
So could you please tell me how is the scientific to be putting shit smoothie in your mouth and nose?
Well, that's not what the Quran says. I think you're going to, and that's not what the Hadith says. But if you cannot find a scientific error with the Quran, which then you should admit I can't find a problem with the book, and therefore I have to go to the Hadith. And if that's
No,
what's
no,
happening here,
that is not the
is
case. I've already found the
he
error in
did?
okay,
Is this it? That was your best that you could do with the Quran? Is that what you're telling everybody here?
Yep, that is basically I settled your debate that sun is not actually setting in a warm water, and Muhammad would be not having a good logical conversation with somebody who's seeing that sun appears to be setting, and nowhere in the translation of the hadith it is written. So I've clearly shown that yes, Muhammad does mean that it is going down the warm water to prostrate Allah upon which the throne is situated, basically. So I've proven that. The second point that I've proven that a sky is not a ceiling which from which the fragments can fall off, according to your scholars. So the Quran there has been proven completely unscientific.
Mm-hmm.
I have proven that the
Okay.
moon
Can we
was.
move on? Okay.
No, hold a
Want to
minute. Hold a minute.
sorry.
You
Okay.
said that.
Okay.
The Quran topic, right? Let me tell you.
Okay.
So I have clearly explained that whether by miracle or by natural phenomenon, breaking of moon would have its natural consequences, as does the creation of Adam, because it has led to, according to you guys, the natural uh, emergence of humans on Earth, right? So that I have debunked you there, and I have badly debunked you on a bad order of creation, where your Allah is saying that Earth was created before the space. So I have debunked you on all these points in Quran, and now yes, I'm moving to Hadiths, which is
Okay.
Sunan Abi Dawud 67, which clearly says that Allah, your Prophet, the best role model, thinks that a small well filled with excretion from human, basically human poop and dead dogs is pure. What do you have to say about this?
Okay, so first of all, finish your argument. What exactly are you trying? What's the issue of science here? I don't understand. Finish what you're trying to say.
Because it is very, very unscientific and very bad for human health that your Rusul is saying pure, because I can show you scientific
Oh, we
arguments.
call the well of yeah. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Buddha.
Yeah. Okay.
So doing udu with shit smoothie is bad for health. I can show you the Dawn report where a lot of people have died because of doing udu with dirty water. So if you want that, I can show you, but this is generally common sense.
Sure.
That
Okay.
hold on, just a minute. Water containing human poop contains a bacteria which sticks to the mucous membrane of the nasal cavity and the oral cavity, which then gets absorbed into the stream and which cause a very, very bad diseases.
Sure.
So go ahead. What's your point?
Wonderful. Here? Thank you for that. So this little girl, which I'm about to share my screen, if you could see it, she's going to answer it for me. Okay. Here we see from the following article over here from CNN.com, CBN.com. It says drinking animals with dead animals in it, which is what you'll find in the hadith. Look what she says over here. We have to drink the dirty water because there is no other water near us. So the issue which you are trying to bring up here, if you see people drinking from dirty water, as you can see from this little girl here, it's not by choice, but that's truly is the situation. There is no other type of water available. Now, when you talked about, I forgot the last point you were mentioning, but you said, look, Muhammad said that you could use this water. The first thing you have to read the hadith with common sense. Nobody is going to Muhammad to learn about water science. The people of Arabia back then, they were the masters of desert survival. They already know how to drink from this water and all of the techniques which you could use. That's why they're still alive. So you could go open up the TV and you can find all these people who are survivalists, people drinking from this dirty water. They're showing how to survive in the desert. And so to drink from this water, unfortunately, is the situation which many people have today. So I think the next part of your argument is Muhammad said, look, this water is pure. So before I school you and educate you on that, I want you to first come forward and admit and accept to tell everybody, yes, sometimes you have to drink from this water and there's really no choice. And for you to understand that nobody is going to Muhammad to learn about water science. What is a safe water to drink? Rather, they are the absolute experts on the subject, and they went to Muhammad to learn about something else. So go ahead. I'll let you respond to these points before I address you on pure.
Okay, this guy is wonderful. See, मजबूरी को इंग्लिश में क्या कहते हैं सत्ता भैया? अगर आप हैं तो
necessity
नहीं कुछ कहते हैं मतलब
desperation.
हाँ, okay. Drinking bad water is a desperation, but calling it good for consumption is a scientifically stupid statement. That is what we are trying to prove here. And because of his statement and believing in Rasulullah, see recently what happened. Okay, just a moment. A lot of people died because they believed what Rasulullah said in that hadith. They did udu with that shit smoothie. So your stupidities of your that esteemed person, that very good guy, is killing people till date. A lot of people died because of doing udu with that dirty water.
Can I ask you, he did?
This is just 1 year old news reported in Dawn, a very, very good newspaper, a very reputed newspaper in Pakistan. Go ahead.
Can you show me anywhere in that article you quoted from me where it said it was because they read the hadith? Can you show me where it says that?
Even if they didn't, they're doing ablution and following Rasulullah, friend.
Where do they say they're doing wudu with it?
Whether they
Problem
Okay,
is,
let me
what you
show
don't
you. Let me show you.
understand.
Let me show
Okay,
you.
show,
Let me
show
show
it to
you.
me. Yeah, yeah.
Where? He suggested that the victims might have contracted the deadly infection while bathing or performing ablution.
Or, yeah.
Here it is.
Right. So what the issue here, what you need to understand, Heated, is people are dying
So just,
every.
I'm so sorry for stopping
Can I?
you in the
Yeah.
middle of your statement. My name is Brahmrakshas. Heated Debates is the name of the channel. Please.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's your name? Brahm
Brahmrakshas.
call him, you can call him BR,
BR. I'll call you
short
BR.
form.
Okay, BR. What you are showing us today is quite normal. All over the world, people are dying of drinking dirty water. So this is not something which is just unique for Muslims. Okay, so this is your lack of understanding and of how science works. And this has nothing to do with, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. This is truly, the only water available for people. But now let's go back to the hadith where you have been refuted. Okay, going back to the hadith, nobody is going to Muhammad to learn about the science of waters. These people already understand how it works. So they're not, so let's talk about pure. I'm glad you're underlining that. I will educate you on that. The people who went to Muhammad are not going to Muhammad to learn about what is pure from a scientific point of view, but from a religious point of view. Is this something which God will be upset with us about? And so Muhammad said that this water which you are drinking, it is not defiled by anything, meaning it's sanctified. It is blessed. You can use it, and from a religious point of view. Now, let me show you from the Hadith and from the Quran about how pure is being used, because I do understand, BR, you do have a lack of understanding of the actual Arabic Quran and how words are used. Okay, so look what Allah said inside chapter 9, verse 28, because this is talking about you. It's saying that the disbelievers, they are najis, they are impure, and therefore they are not allowed to enter into the Mecca. Now, when Allah said this in the Quran, did he mean the impurity from a scientific point of view or from a spiritual point of view? So this is my question for you, Mr. Najis. Can you explain that to us?
So here, so whatever he says in the context of religious or like soulful or like godly things. No, that is not the case. In Jamiat Tirmidhi, your Rasul is claiming that there is no such thing as infection, which is again leading to a lot of people not taking vaccines and
No, we'll get
dying
there.
because of that. So this that hadith was just to prove that he does not say everything in context of otherworldliness. Here he is talking about water that is not defiled by anything. He thinks that that particular worldly water is not defiled by anything because he has a habit of commenting on things he has no clue about. The worldly things he has no clue about. And because of that, many people died today believing in him, believing
No.
in him that water is not defiled by anything. Yes, so
Actually,
what are you saying? Are you listening to
yeah.
yourself?
Are you listening to yourself? Nobody is dying because of reading that hadith, okay? So, but we go back to the issue of the question I asked you, which you ran away from and talked about infection. Surah 9, verse 28, when it said that you are najis, you could take 1,000 showers and you will still be najis. Najis means you are impure. Was Allah talking about from a spiritual point of view, or was he talking about from a scientific point of view that you're najis? Explain that to me.
Then just
Najis
tell
means
me.
impure.
Then just tell me why is a shit smoothie spiritually pure? Just
Okay,
tell
hold
me.
on a second. You did not answer my question. And what we are seeing here is that impurity, okay, inside the Quran has of course, actually in the Quran and Hadith, when you looked at this word about pure and impurity, it's not talking from a scientific point of view, but something which is sanctified, blessed by God, and you can use it. He's not going to teach you the science of drinking the water because they already know that. All right. So we saw from 9:29, Surah 9, verse 28, you are also impure. Now look at the following hadith over here, where this woman was saying, listen, she said that, "O Prophet of Allah, verily I have been defiled." And then Muhammad said, "But water is not defiled by anything." She's saying, because I had sex, I have been made impure. So here we're talking about when a person in Islam, when you have sex, you become impure from a spiritual point of view. And that's when Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, look, the water is not defiled by anything, meaning it's not from a spiritual point of view, it is not something which is going to be sinful for you to use. I hope you can see how the word pure and impure is being used in our scripture, as I have shown you very clearly. Okay, but where you have failed.
Chicha, yeah. Can I just interject you on that?
Yeah.
See, things are spiritually impure and pure. Like, for example, if you're having sex with somebody you're not supposed to, that makes your soul impure. But using that statement, you cannot say that shit is impure in the same sense that the shit had sex with some female shit, which made him impure. Shit is impure because it is impure. Here, Muhammad Sahab is talking about your best role model did wudu with that water, that shit-filled water, following which that exact sunnah is causing a lot of people to die. So
no, nobody's
spiritual. Dying. Just a moment. I'm so sorry, sir. Just a moment. Spiritually impure can be used for things which cause impurity spiritually. And objectively, physically impure are things which are contaminated, just like a pool full of shit. And just let me tell you, just to clarify that point, let me tell you, Jamia Tirmidhi. Here, Rasulullah is saying there is no such thing as infection. No camel gets infected, or no person can transfer infection from other infection. So just let me clarify the argument, please, if you allow me. This doesn't mean that it is a spiritual infection that cannot be transferred. This is such a grossly, scientifically stupid statement that Rasulullah made. And his logic behind is that then who got the first infection? If you think that infection is transferred from person to person. Is it spiritually infectious? Nadir, what are you talking about?
I do need to interject. I'm sorry to both of you. This has gone to and fro for far too long. If you guys are still comfortable, you guys can continue. Otherwise, we need to move towards the closing arguments.
Okay.
Yeah, closing argument would be good because we have to take the questions as well from the audience.
Yep, I'm just giving you guys the freedom because it was a decision between
we could have a couple of. Yeah, let me just answer him very quickly, and I think I have to get going too, so we can close it up. I know it's
absolutely
very long.
So we'll put a clock on it. You have 2 minutes to actually close down this, and then we'll have closing arguments.
Yeah. So the problem. So nowhere in Islam does it say poop is pure. That is his wacky quacky interpretation. The best role model made wudu from this water, thank God, because that truly is a water which is available for millions of people even till today. So the stupidity of BR, is that he doesn't understand that nobody is going to Muhammad to learn about water science. They already know these things. That's how they survived in the desert for so many years. But they went to Muhammad to learn, is it permissible? Would this be sinful if I use this water? Because they knew what kind of water it was. He's not teaching people these things. Muhammad said it's perfectly fine to use it. And millions of people, you see many desert survivalists, they are using this water to survive in the desert. Muhammad is not the only one.
Dude, they were doing ablutions. What are you saying, bro? That is not they use for drinking.
Please
Yeah,
allow me.
yeah, no overspeaking, please.
Please,
Let me complete.
So you can make wudu from this water. Bear Grylls, some of the survival experts, will show you how to do it. There's many videos online which will show you how you could drink from it and how you can make wudu from it. There's many purification techniques, boiling, things like that. So he has also made a post hoc rationalization stating that, oh, well, this hadith is causing people to die today. No, if the hadith never existed, those people will still die, just like people are dying all over the world from drinking this water. There is a project called the Clean Water Project, which has been erected to basically alleviate this type of suffering in people. So, are we ready for our closing 2 minutes?
Yes, I'm ready for the closing remark.
Okay.
My dear friend doesn't get to understand that that was not a survival situation. In fact, people were hesitant to use that dirty water. Let me show you how well of Buddha was. Just replace this, this is an actual photo. Just replace this corpses of pigs with dogs. This is what well of Buddha was. And nobody was dying of thirst. There was no survival situation. Yet Rasulullah had to say things he had no clue about. He said that it is perfectly okay to perform ablution, but that is not a survival situation. They are just doing their ritualistic thing. That is not survival situation, and which is still causing people to die. That is the horror of this religion and what these religious teachings do to humanity. Doing wudu is not a survival situation, my dear brother. That argument, I think, is debunked beyond repair. So, moving to the closing argument, I really appreciate this human and for the way he presents his argument. He's very calm and collected. I just want to take this time to appreciate this human because he has been doing uh, an act of defending a book that is indefensible. And he has been doing it pretty well, I guess. And for that, I'd like to appreciate him. But final message to Nadir. Nadir, you're an old man. You must be having a family. So just sit down for a moment someday and think about you may be having this all these good translations of Quran, and you in your heart know that you're not true. You're just making jalebis for the world. But your son may get into a real mosque and may learn the real Islam, and that would neither be good for your descendants or for the society. I don't want you to be an atheist. I'm a Vedanti. I have full faith in God. And I don't want you or your sons to be an Vedanti either. I just want them to be safe and good and not die of doing ablution of shit-filled water. Thank you for debating me, and thank you for challenging me.
Yeah, so I think, first of all, the picture which he quoted is a fictitious picture. Okay. That is something which some fools made on the internet. But even in that picture which he quoted, there are tons of videos of survivalists, people who will show you from that water how you could drink from it. That is the water for millions of people all over the world today. So can you drink from that water? Yes, you can. Absolutely. But it goes back to your the techniques you use to filter it. But it's really surprising. Well, actually, it's not surprising how he would end in giving fictitious images to try to prove something. But even all of that is not from the Quran. The big takeaway from this debate, if you've listened to it, BR failed in showing a verse of the Quran and something from modern science and showing a contradiction between the two. I told you from the very beginning I will finish him in 20 minutes. I took a little bit longer than 20 minutes just because he got desperate. He tried so many ways to try to do that, but in the end he failed. He failed to do so. There is something, and the point of that challenge was that you could do that with other books, but you cannot do that with the Quran. You can, and I showed many scientific contradictions of other books, but what is it about the Quran that you can't do this? The big problem of what he was demonstrating, he had two problems. Number one, he's ignorant of Arabic. And so when I would say he didn't understand the difference between taghrib and tadhib. Taghrib, when it talks about setting in the sun, the pool, he didn't understand the Arabic behind it. He foolishly assumed it's talking about physically going into the water. Okay, he didn't understand the meaning of the word min. Min means from. So like if he were to read the Quran, he can't understand any of it. He's relying on English translations, and normally that's okay. But if you are just going to be spinning your own wacky quacky interpretations and making fake arguments, false assumptions of the ignorant credulous off of that, then that's a problem. You should start learning some Arabic. But he wasn't able to do that. And so these are his big problems. I would actually encourage him, go learn some Arabic so you can participate and keep up in these debates rather than me teaching you on the fly what these things mean. And I think that's going to be a big, at least people are going to be able to benefit a lot more than me having to teach you. The whole thing about clot, he was refuted when I showed the
Moderator time, please.
yeah, that the heart is a machine. It's perfectly fine to make those type of analogies. Go ahead.
Nadir, that was the request was for closing arguments.
Oh,
Actually,
I
he
was
made
waiting for you to
his.
stop me.
All right. So
No, Nadir,
I
it
hope
was really
that's. I just wanted to be fair that to both the sides because you guys were going in a flow. I'm not
Okay.
used to of this, so don't mind me. Since this is complete, thank you to both of you. I think you have made amazing points. You have made your points very clear, very explicit.
Mhm.
So I am not gonna sound like somebody who's used to of this. Moving on, I think we do have some chats that the members actually came across, and we would like you both to be here while we read them.
Sure,
And
sure.
in case some questions come around, then it would be directed so. Uh, we have Mr. Gabo. He is a member for the past month, and he says Jai Shri Ram, Satya Sanatan Dharam ki Jai Ho. So yeah, that's just hail lords. So Jai Shri Ram, आपको भी भाई साहब. Goku has gifted 10 heated debates membership. Thank you Goku, and जिन जिन को मिली है उनको परिवार में स्वागत है. Welcome to the family. Mr. The Truth has been a member for 11 months, and he says Om Namah Shivaya इस stream को हर जगह share करो. ओम नमः शिवाय ट्रूथ साहब, सबको शेयर करने की जरूरत है. हम लोग शायद प्रिपेयर्ड नहीं थे बस, बट आई होप लोगों को ये देखने को मिलेगी. We have justice for Aisha and Safia. He became a member of YouTube, so welcome to the family. I'll move on from him. संखदीप, सॉरी अगर मैंने नाम बॉच कर दिया हो. दूध पी लो मेरा बच्चा, तुमसे ना हो. अच्छा, all right. So that's him being funny. This is Manavta. He has been member for 12 months. He's a member of the team. He says the BR Brahmrakshas be like, let me be your daddy, you cute
okay.
baby.
Let us not read the demeaning comments. He's our guest. Please.
Yeah, all right, understood. So yeah, Blitz Gaming has contributed, and he says that he's declaring himself winner, self-satisfaction. Moving on. Uh, I think this is a question. I think Nadir, this is directed to you. So, Urban Nari is stating that Mr. Nadir, how far is it scientific that Mr. Muhammad Ji was born after 2 years from his father's demise? What, whether the blood clot lost in way? I'm sure there's a typo over there, but would you like to respond?
Yeah, well, I don't know what his point on that, he was born, well, first of all, I don't think that's true that he was born 2 years from his father's demise. At least that's not what I understand. But the issue here is the Quran, where the big defeat, was that he really wasn't able to show scientific contradictions in the Quran. He was chased into the Hadith. And I think that's very important for everybody to see. There was a challenge put out that just bring the scientific journal.
Nadir,
Yeah.
I request that we restrict it to the answer. If there's a question, if you don't want to pass on, we can pass it on.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'll just say I'm a little bit vague on what he's asking, but he looks like he spent a lot of money asking it, though.
Okay,
That's all right.
so
We'll
no,
move on.
those are not dollars
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Those are rupees. So it's
Oh,
just
okay.
just about $1. That is not an issue.
Oh, okay.
So
We'll move.
the references,
Yeah.
yes, the references on this that Muhammad Sahab was born after the the death of his father, 2 years after the death of his father. The references are not very clear and not from very authentic sources. So
Gotcha.
it is
Gotcha.
like you can believe it or not, right? It's like that.
I think she got her answer. The name says it's a female, so I'll just correct on that.
Then
Moving
namaste
on.
to her.
All right. Namaste to ma'am. Blitz Gaming also contributed, and he says Quran 85, sorry, 86:5 to 86:7. Sperms produced from the backbone and ribcage. How can this be scientific? I think Blitz, you have missed a significant portion
Okay,
of the debate. It was discussed.
I can answer it.
Nadir, if you wanna clarify, I'll give the floor to you.
Yeah. So this is a very beautiful description, and see, the problem is, I think the questioner, he thinks backbone and ribs can only refer to this thoracic portion right over here. However, if you science today also tells us that between the backbone and the ribs is also referring to this lower portion right over here. So you've
Let
got
me show
the
the screen. Let me share the screen. Yeah.
yeah. If you could just show that real quick. So
Done, done, done.
yeah. So the semen, it goes up through this thing called the ductus deferens. The ductus deferens is right above the bladder. Now look what's right on its right side is a backbone, and on top of its head is the ribs. Perfect, beautiful example of between the backbone and the ribs, because the semen shoots up through the ductus deferens, and then finally it's basically shot out through as ejaculation. So there's a diagram I'm showing you. Perfect
Can I
example.
comment on this?
Sure, just brief comment, please.
So that is a very far stretch of a logic here, because something being on your right and something being on your top doesn't make you in between them. That is simple fallacy of directions, and the word used there is stemming from, and the sperm stems from testicles, and those are in no far stretch of logical reasoning in between the backbone and the rib cage.
All right. Thank you very much for the clarification from both of you. We'll move on. This is from Articus, or is this, what's with the name? Yeah, too complicated for my tongue. So thanks for the contribution. He says Galen is ancient and had been destroyed hundreds of years. I'm not really sure who this is
Yeah,
directed
Galen is
Oh
an
no,
to.
I
English
can
I am
answer
guy,
that. I can
but
answer
he's an
that.
old guy. He was good for
Yeah,
the time.
yeah,
Okay, Nadeep, go ahead.
yeah. So the scientific miracle we all saw today was, yes, Galen is an ancient who wrote books in of the past. They've been debunked, and how? Because I can show you a scientific journal. And what I did, I showed you from the scientific journal, and I took a statement from Galen and showed a contradiction between the two. You can do that not just with Galen's work, but with Aristotle, the Bible, and other books of the past. But as we have seen in tonight's debate, you cannot do that with the Quran. And that's what the challenge presented to BR, and he was soundly defeated in that challenge.
got it. Got it. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
मेरा भी
We
मतलब
are, we are,
please take my comment too,
we
please.
are gonna
I
hold the
okay.
punches. So we have another one. I'm just waiting to actually put it across on the board. I'm not able to for some reason. There is a super chat over there. I'm not sure why is it not being highlighted. So Miss Yogmaya, she says, Nadir sir, miracles can't be the argument to justify all the unscientific things. Yeah, this is the one.
Because the person who asking the question is unscientific. Science has already rendered their verdict. Science says, and I quoted from the reference from, I think, How Stuff Works, that we don't apply what's it called, the science to miracles. Like, for example, Moses splitting the ocean, Jesus walking on water. How do these things take place scientifically? From a scientific perspective, they're saying, leave us alone. We don't want to address that. So the person who's asking the question is unscientific. And so that's where the error is, here is. But what we saw in tonight's debate was there were many miracle statements of the Quran. But what about the natural stuff? What about how the Quran talks a lot about the way the earth naturally runs and works? We didn't see any of that tonight. So that was really funny, I thought, that you go to the miracle statement of how Allah created the universe, things like that, and say, oh, look, this contradicts science about the moon splitting. If the moon split naturally, all kinds of bad things would happen, right? Sure. But is that really the context here, or was it splitting supernaturally? Clear, it was splitting supernaturally. So that's where I
All
think
right.
where my opponent was refuted.
There
Satyaved,
is
please, can I comment on
another.
this?
Sure, please go ahead.
See, the point is that the miracle mentioned in his book has been proven false by the science, because, as I showed in the website of NASA, that clearly mentions that the space in which the Earth exists is much older than this Earth itself. So the miracle he's trying to show is against what actually happened, thereby proving that the fact, according to them, written in their book is false, scientifically bad, inaccurate, stupid. Not to hurt his sentiment, scientifically inaccurate would do. I'm so sorry for using that word, stupid. So go ahead.
Got it. Got it. I think it's too late for both of you to start doing that. But let's moving on. There's another question. I think it's related to the same topic. Mr. Rohit Avasthi. He says, Nadir, if I'm given a supernatural power by an almighty and I decide to make a miracle and decide to split the moon into two, will it not affect at least the wave pattern on Earth? If yes, then splitting the moon will have consequences.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Your comment,
I
please.
think that was the defeated argument of BR. So at this point, I feel like I'm defending modern science from the people who are attacking it. Science has made it very clear. When you have a miracle statement here, you do not apply science to that. Okay, God can split the moon. Now, of course, if the moon split it naturally, as BR pointed out, you'd have all kinds of problems here on Earth. That's perfectly fine. I'm not denying that. But God can do things in a supernatural way, which could prevent the type of problems which we see. And science today is absolutely perfectly fine with that. So now, not only do I have to defend Islam, but I have to defend modern science. So let me do that right now from the pseudoscientific quackologists who are buying into the arguments from BR. This is from the website How Stuff Works. It states very clearly, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so everybody can read. It states very clearly here, this place talking about miracles and the supernatural, certain topics beyond the reach of the scientific method. Science cannot prove or refute the existence of God or any supernatural entity. So these are the limitations of science which we have today. So can God split the moon and without causing the adverse effects which BR pointed out? Perfectly fine. He can do it. No problem. He can make himself into a monkey god, right, BR? Which you believe in? If God can make himself into a monkey god, then he can definitely do these things, right?
No, okay, let us not talk about it. If you come with me and I teach you what is perception, what is Maya, and you better
Do you
understand what
do you
monkey god
believe in a
is.
do you believe in a monkey god?
Yes, I do.
I think BR and Nadir, I think that's not really the point. Let's
Okay.
put it, we're taking question answers. Let's not get ahead of each other. So another one, Sunil M has contributed and says, why was voodoo? I'm guessing he's trying to talk about voodoo. Suggested with dirty water and not sand.
Voodoo can be just open up the internet and look at all the survival experts, like people like Bear Grylls, who take that same dirty water and they drink from it. They can bathe with it. So it all depends on your water filtration techniques, which people use. And they give you the live demonstration on how to do it. So, from a scientific perspective, it's perfectly fine to use water with dead dogs in it. And I think that the text said it had menses in it, but it goes back to your techniques. That's where what matters. And the point which I was making is people approach the hadith with this type of ignorance that they think that they're coming to Muhammad to learn about water science. No, They already know the water science. This is basic common knowledge, and they have mastered the techniques of how to filter this water. So that is why there's no scientific contradiction. There's a problem with the stupidity people have when approaching and reading that text. Okay,
Mr. Moderator, can I please
yeah.
comment?
Yeah, keeping the pattern intact. Yes, please go ahead.
With the permission of Mr. Nadir, being our guest, voodoo is not a survival situation. And being the role model he is, he did voodoo with that, which is causing death of innocents till date. Clear, voodoo is not a survival situation.
Sure. Thank you. We have another one from Mr. Architectus Osiris. Sorry about the name again.
Rajesh.
He says science of Quran is science of Galen, outdated. At that time, Arabia only didn't know. I'm guessing did know about science of Galen. When Galen is debunked, same time Quran got debunked. Your view, sir.
Yeah. So just a quick comment. You know, the BR keeps repeating the same canard that people are dying because of the hadith about dirty water. There is no evidence for that. That's his post hoc rationalization for that. And yet he keeps repeating that false statement over and over again. The issue about wudu not being a survival situation, in that case, then you can use the ground. Because remember, the tayammum, the ground which we are upon, the dirt where you see at it, it is pure. It is what? Pure. And you just wipe your face and hands, and you've been purified by the very ground, because it's not talking about things scientifically. Okay, so if there's no clean water, then you
Quick
can make
comment.
tayammum. But the issue here about Galen being the Quran, I think if you go to my YouTube page, I had a discussion with I forgot PZ Myers. This nonsense that the Quran is borrowing from Galen has been debunked, not just by Muslims, but even I don't think even he buys that nonsense as well. So this is just mythology, which people are saying about the Quran.
Yes, Bia, you wanted
Can I
to
do a
say so?
comment too? Please, moderator, Mr. Moderator.
Yeah, I'm keeping the pattern intact. Both of you are actually commenting, so I'm gonna go ahead with it.
Thank you, sir, moderator. What I'm saying is, but the best role model didn't do tayammum. He did wudu with a shit smoothie. That is why he's not the role model, guys. Just think about it. Yeah, Nadir, you're such an old person. You must be intellectually much more higher than me. You must be able to think more than me. You're most probably from this land, which is the land of intellectuals. How? You're British or Asian or South Asian? Nadir.
Oh, I'm from Pakistan.
Bro, you're brother, right? You're the guys who had Nalanda. Before 2000 years, before 2000 years, you were the most developed civilization. How you guys go so low intellectually? Now that I just can't
No,
understand. He didn't
Bia, the
do
debate is over.
tayammum.
Bia, the
He
debate is
had.
over. We are not gonna go. We're not gonna go against each other over it now. Um, if anything regarding the comment, you're free to go ahead. Not between each other.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I just feel bad for this. My distant relative, I'd say.
So, moving on. There's another super chat. Arban Ari again. She says, Mr. Nader, this is specifically for you. When Mr. Muhammad was giving the lesson of life, don't you think he should have? Sorry. Yeah, for some reason. Yeah, sorry. My
Just
mistake.
one correction. It is
Uh,
Takshila, not Nalanda. I'm so sorry. Sorry.
all right. So, again, I'll read the whole thing. Mr. Nader, when Mr. Muhammad was giving the lessons of life, don't you think he should have warned the people to never consume dirty water and that they may get ill because of it? How can you ignore the perfect failure here? Okay.
So there is a
Your
failure.
comments.
Yeah, so there is a failure here, and I have to admit. You see in the hadith in the Quran, it doesn't fix stupid. If stupid people want to read the hadith and lie to people, like BR was doing, he was saying that people were reading the hadith and thus dying from it. There's no such thing. Okay. The Quran and hadith, I have to admit to all the people here, it cannot fix stupid people. And so if people are reading the hadith with a stupidity in them, that people are going to Muhammad to learn about water science, I we can't help that. We can't fix that. Nobody is going to Prophet Muhammad to learn about water science. They already know about the science of water. Hundreds of videos are on the internet today of people drinking from dirty water, and the water which he's calling a poop smoothie, that's not the case. It had dead dogs in it, menstrual rags, and garbage thrown in it. That's the water for millions of people today. Can you imagine if Muhammad said, no, don't drink from that water? Millions of people would have died, because that is the drinking water for millions of people. There are so many videos on the internet which show you how to drink from that water. So many survival experts. And that's the knowledge. In fact, they were probably better knowledge they had during the life of Muhammad. Muhammad was only explaining to them that to drink from this water, it is not sinful. It's not something God will be angry with. Go ahead and use it, and you better use it because it's a life or death situation if you do not use that water. Just like that little girl I showed you in the picture, she said we have to drink water with dead dogs in it. There's no options on the table. And if you go to India, actually, you will see pictures of people drinking from that dirty water as well. That's just the unfortunate reality of life.
That's all right.
Can I comment?
Moving on, I think
you are allowing both the participants to comment, Mr. Moderator, please.
All right, go ahead.
So my dear friend said that it was a survival situation. No, it was not. The perfect role model did it himself and made it a perfect thing to do for the rest of the Muslim Ummah, which is the reason why people are dying today. He shouldn't have done that, because this is scientifically utterly stupid. Then again, because he's been calling me stupid a lot of times, so I'm not going to respond to that, because he's a really good human being. And just get this point. Doing wudu is not a survival situation, and your role model who makes whatever he does, makes it a sunnah for the ummah. So he doomed the whole ummah to do gargle with the shit smoothie. And it is not poop smoothie, it is shit smoothie. And if you want it, we can add a dead dog and menstrual growth and shit smoothie. It has got a good ring to it. So,
thank you very much. Over here, Mr. Rohit Avasti comes back with a contribution. He says, according to you, Nadir, bracket mein, on moon splitting, does God's action have selective consequences? Then why make laws of physics? What is the purpose of laws of physics if miracle can overrule them anytime?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, well, one thing I do want to, I want to confront BR on. You keep, at this point, I have to use the word lying. You keep lying to everybody here that people are reading the hadith, and as a result of reading that hadith, they are dying because of that hadith. There's no such thing. You are making that up for everybody here. Nobody is drinking a poop smoothie. What
Nadir, may I request for
shit smoothie,
Yeah.
please.
may I
Shit
request
smoothie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's not have another to and fro. This is
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
May I request
So,
for comment on whatever has been asked, please?
yeah. So miracles, I think Hindus believe in miracles too. What is the definition of a miracle? A miracle is when God intervenes inside, his power intervenes and overrules the laws of physics to do something incredible, like Moses split the water, like Jesus walked on water, like a miraculous birth of Jesus. These are all miracles. The problem is I am defending science here. Rohit Ausati, he's attacking
Avasti.
Ausati. He's attacking modern science. It should be clear to everybody. Science has made it very clear. We don't deny miracles. We don't, we're not going to accept it. We're not going to deny it. But what we're saying is that we cannot apply science to it. to people, these type of miraculous stories. So if God wants to say he split the moon or split the seas from a scientific perspective, that's perfectly fine. So Rohit, what I would ask you to do is you should make your mind scientific. Okay, you have your own personal interpretations on how things should be. Okay, no, but you should follow what science says, and that's my humble advice for you. And I showed you the reference. I can share it with you more.
Sure. Thank you. BR, anything to add? Otherwise, I'll move on. I'll take the silence as a no. Moving on. Architectus Osiris comes back and he says, "How did elephant cross desert pre-Muhammad?" I'm not really sure what he's talking about. Maybe you can give context to it.
Yeah, I think that's in Surah Fil, where there was an army of elephants who crossed the desert, at a specific time. Well, I don't know how that contradicts modern science, but one thing you should also understand about the Arabian Peninsula, at one time in history, it was green. And a lot of people don't know about this, but it had pastures, and there were a lot of animals remains. I think they found, like, what was it, hippos, rhinoceros, or something like that. So there was a time when Arabia was green. So that's how I would answer that. And if you ever want a reference for that, go to my YouTube page. I'll send you a link on it, or I can share my desktop. Actually, I could probably show you a reference that way as well.
Perfect.
Yeah. To show you, and this is also from one of the scientific miracles of Prophet Muhammad, in that he actually predicted this. So let me share my screen real quick, and I'll show you that real quick here. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that, stated that Arabia used to be green and will return to being green. Okay, inside the following hadith, I'll just let you read it on the screen. And look what science here says over here. It says, because hippos cannot survive in a very arid and dry situation, so the environment had to have been green for them to survive. So there were surely lots of lakes and rivers all across Arabia, and there was plenty of grass with vegetation for the animals to consume. The website is Nature Asia. You can see the link over there. Now remember, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said it used to be green, which is true, and it will return to being green. Now here is NASA's website, which is talking about the fields of green springs up in Saudi Arabia. Here you can see the green patches, which are basically filling up the land of Arabia. And this is from the NASA website, exactly what Prophet Muhammad said, in which he said that the last hour will not come before when the abundant and overflowing, so much that the man takes his keep up and saying, keep going. It says, from the hill till the land of Arabia reverts to meadows and rivers. Reverts. The word there is yaud, as you can see there. I've underlined it. The scientific miracle. Go ahead, please.
Perfect. Perfect.
Mr.
Perfectly
Moderator, can I
described.
please comment?
Please.
Just to get this argument in line, he is trying to present this hadith as some kind of scientific miracle. Just let me tell to all the Mu'minins of the world that having ears and being able to listen to people, to your elders, what they have listened from their elders, is not a scientific miracle, because people from there must have known about what Arabia was like back in the time he is talking about. Go ahead.
Perfect. Perfect. So, moving on, we have Barbarika Smriti. I'm guessing that's a female, stating that, Nadir, you keep saying he is referencing hadiths and not Quran. Are you saying you don't believe in hadiths?
No, what I'm saying, if you do that, you will trigger the Islamic debate victory, because what that means is you cannot find a scientific error with the Quran. And because of that, now you have to go to the hadith. And so that's why I'm telling you, you need to show a scientific contradiction in the Quran, which he was not able to do so. What he was presenting is his own personal interpretation of the Quran and Hadith. He was ignorant of what sama of pieces from the sky, which could also mean heaven. He was ignorant of murky waters. Does it mean go? Does it mean appeared? He was ignorant of a lot of different things. So I was kind of like teaching him the Arabic. But the issue I want to mention about the hadith, which I just quoted, remember Muhammad said that it will one day become green again. That you cannot get from the people of the past. And that's a scientific miracle, which BR was not able to respond.
So may I
I
please
get it.
respond now?
I need to redirect actually. What Nadir
Okay.
actually just made the statement was regarding the first half of the question. The second half of the question, actually, the statement was, "Are you saying you don't
No,
believe
no,
in
he
Hadith?"
said that
I'm
he
hoping for a
believes in Hadith,
I'm
but
hoping for a
Yeah,
I'm
I
hoping
believe
for
in
a yes or no
hadith.
answer. So,
I believe in
all
hadith,
right,
but I'm showing the problems with not being able to challenge the Quran, and then you run to the hadith. That's going to be a problem for you.
perfect. Yeah, Bear, you wanted to say something.
yes, sir. What I wanted to say is that I was never showing my interpretation. I was showing the interpretation of the scholars, of all the major scholars, which he's not agreeing to because he has to prove his scientifically inaccurate Quran right. So that is where he lied in the first part of the answer. And about the second part, it is a guess, right? Yes, every day, like China, deserts of China are becoming green because they have advanced in technology and they'd be doing something about it because they don't want to live in a desert, right? That is nothing scientific, bro. Here now, I'm prophesizing that one day Sahara would be, if the world doesn't end and the technology advances to that level, Sahara would be reforested. See, accept me as your messenger if you want, if that's your parameter.
That's all right. We're not gonna go in any other further than that. We have another one. Mr. The Flash has made a contribution, and he's asking Nadir that, do you think Hadith is Sunnah? He's quoting Quran 24:54. Please comment if you can.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit off topic for today, but yeah, I think it's very important to follow the hadith. You'll see scientific miracles in both the Quran and the hadith. And yeah, you could pass it off as a good guess. Maybe you got lucky. That's perfectly fine. But the problem where BR will be defeated in, if we ever to debate that topic, is that we have many of these so-called good guesses which inside the hadith and the Quran of scientifically accurate statement where we can now rule out guesswork. We can rule out maybe he was a great scientist. We could rule out any of those human possible ways to get this information. So to answer your question, it is very important. I mean, so the science, why we should follow hadith is because the scientific miracle is in both the Quran and in the hadith. So God is using science as a way to guide us to these books. That's what I believe.
All right, all right. Let's move on.
Uh, I,
So,
I, I,
all right. Let me bring it up again. Sorry. You don't have a
talking about the
sure.
prophecies that Rasulullah got wrong, there's a hadith about the women of Dhul Khalsa whose buttocks would be rubbing against each other and would be scratched because the Dhul Khalsa doesn't exist now and they do that kind of buttock dance. So it is fairly accepted that that hadith is that prophecy is false. So let us not
What?
go there. Do
Sure.
you want
Moving
me to
on.
show that hadith?
Let's move on. This is ridiculous.
Okay.
The- so we have X. He has been member for a month. He says, Nadir, how much do you know Hinduism? He's talking about Sanatan. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know a little bit about it. I don't know a lot. I know you guys, one of your gods is a monkey god, and I know that there's really no evidence for Hinduism. Meaning, if you were to debate the evidences for Hindu, there would be no debate. It's all blind faith. What I understand about Hinduism is there is no evidence for it, and all you are doing is just following blind faith. Islam is a religion which has scientific, prophetic, and archaeological miracles which which confirms it. And Hinduism, what I know about Hinduism, you have no way to know if you're following mythology, somebody's ancient old tradition that people just made up, versus something really coming from God. There is no way. And that's why you see, I've been doing this for 30 years. Hindus do not debate evidence for Hinduism because they know they'll be systematically destroyed. You know, there's no evidence for
Understood.
a monkey god or any of these things you people believe in. That's a problem with Hinduism.
Can I respond to that,
Please make
please?
it concise, please.
Yes, I'd make it concise. And as my dear friend Nadir just accepted that he doesn't know anything about Hinduism, and he again just reinforced that statement with the things he said after. Dear friend, I would just like you to read a book called Sur Siddhanta, which was written before Muhammad Sahab. And we were calculating the radius, the diameter of the sun, and the diameter of the orbit of different planets around the sun. When you guys were thinking that sun is basically drowning in hot water. And if you want to know about Hinduism, I'd just recommend you something in the last. Go ahead.
Thank you. I see another debate point coming across, so we'll do that when off screen. We move ahead. Techno Flash Gaming has been a member for 6 months. He says, "Why why are you being so?" I'm guessing he wanted to say soft. He went salt. So, BR, any comment to ask?
Because he's a guest and I respect him.
Perfect. I really appreciate that. Moving on, we have no OB. He says, "BR sir, please pin your Discord server link." So yeah, moderators, please, if you can, we'll do that. Is there any other chat that needs to be asked? I think that's about it. Let me just confirm. Yeah, we have one more.
So the moderators are sharing
Uh,
the Discord link. You can join there.
sure. Ms. Barbarika Smriti asks from Nadir sir. At points in the debate, you have interpreted the text as miraculous, while at others, you interpreted it scientifically. How do you segregate them?
Mhm. So, yeah, I think that's a good question. So there are verses which do speak about the natural world which we live in. For example, you will find inside the Quran, Allah talks about that there are barriers in the ocean. Okay, that's not something you can say is a miracle. And Allah says also there's also a verse in the Quran where it says there are barriers in the ocean, and that within the ocean you will find something called internal waves. And if you go all the way down to the bottom of the sea, they'll come to a point where you're not going to see any light. Three scientifically correct statements of made on oceanography. That's not miracles. But when you do read in the Quran and it begins with, and Allah did, and Allah made this, and Allah created this, and Allah did this, those are the miraculous statements. So if the verse begins with Allah did, then this is a miracle statement. And my challenge tonight, stay away from the miracle arguments, splitting the moon or things like that. There's no win for you over there. Let's get into the science of the Quran. Let's talk about those verses. And when you look and see, there is no scientific contradiction. It's in 100% harmony with modern science. And the challenge which I presented proved that. I said, just show me a journal, show me a verse of Quran, like I did with Galen, and show a contradiction between the two. BR failed to do that. He couldn't do it. And that's a scientific miracle everybody here has borne witness to.
Dear Nadir
Yeah,
just told me, we were just to comment on his statement that my friend discarded the mention of that hadith as something absurd. So let me just share that for you. Dear sir, this is in Sahih al-Bukhari. Allah's Messenger said, "The hour will not be established till the buttocks of women of the tribes of Daus." I'm so sorry, I mentioned the tribe's name wrong. Move while going around the Diya al-Khalasa. Diya al-Khalsa, basically he has a talk about buttocks, and see, these women do not exist now, and neither does the idol. So the probability of this prophecy coming true is extremely low. So about the prophecies, the high number of prophecies that are coming true, Here's that hadith for you. Sahih al-Bukhari 7116. Neither are those buttocks, neither are not these women, and not definitely not that idol that they would be prostrating around.
That's all right, Bia. Thank you for. I wanted to keep it to the subject. Moving on. Uh, Architectus Osiris, I'm getting good at this name now, comes back and says Arabia was not green 100 years back, but thousands of years back. Fallacy, mister. Not 2 generations back, Muhammad.
Yeah, well, the problem here is the hadiths, which I actually quoted for you, are actually the thing about elephants and all. A date range was not provided. So talking about 2 generations, that's not stated in the hadith. I think you might be falsely interpreting that into the text. But one thing I wanted to also point out, the hadith which BR quoted, he's thinking this is impossible for it to be fulfilled. Well, not really. Now with the advent of neo-paganism, people who are going back and looking at the pagan religion and start believing in them, okay, can show that that could be a reality. So no, there's no false prophecy there. And likewise, all these arguments will fail from BR just like they failed tonight.
Sorry. Uh, Bia, you want to pass a comment on this particular question that
No.
exists
Actually,
because it
here
does.
in the first part, Nadir is right actually, because the time in Quran that they're talking about is not just generations back to Muhammad. It's a long time back when from when Muhammad was born. So Nadir is right there. And in the second part, yeah, that's a distant possibility. You can
Sure.
calculate and
Thank you.
yes, measure the
I moved ahead.
probabilities.
Yeah. So I'll move ahead with the questions. There are they keep popping up. They're just interested. So I'm sorry about that. Rohit Avasti contributes and asks, according to science, isn't finding laws of nature supreme duty? Isn't asking under what conditions will miracles supersede any natural law a scientific question? How am I attacking science? Nadir, I think that's
Yeah.
directed to you.
So how you are attacking science is science made it very clear. They don't deny miracles. Okay. In fact, science do promote miracles. Did you know that? They definitely promote people to believe in miraculous healings. And and I can present to you that evidence. But science cannot confirm or deny miracles, but they promote it because just believing that God is going to heal me will actually wind up healing you. So that's why science actually promotes it. So where the problem is was when you see something about the moon splitting and science is saying we don't apply this doesn't contradict science because we don't apply science to these events, miraculous events. You're saying, no, we will apply science to it. I want to know exactly how Allah is doing it. Science is saying, no, don't do it. You're saying, yes, do it. So that's why I'm saying for you to accept what science is saying, any kind of miraculous claims that Allah or God is doing something interacting in the universe, these are not scientific contradictions. Okay? So if you can accept that, then you're agreeing with what science says.
My comment,
Thank
the
you.
problem with this statement is, so, Mr. Moderator, can I please comment?
Please go ahead.
The problem with his statement is problem with his argument is basically that established scientific facts have proven that the miracle he is talking about, the miracle in case is the earth being created before the universe, the space, has been proven false in light of scientific facts. So the problem is that particular scientific miracle never existed, and that is a lie being told to the young generation of Mominines all around the world.
Sure. Thank you. Moving on, it's something related to this sentence, so I'll let it go in the same direction. Ashutosh Sharma contributes and says, Mr. Nadir, can you prepare a list of miracles in which you can't use science?
All miracle statements you cannot use science. And nowhere in the Quran does it state that the earth was created before the universe. That's his wacky, quacky understanding, his false interpretations, which he's spinning on the Quran. The Quran doesn't state any of this. But even if it did, then once again, that's perfectly fine from a scientific point of view, because science says very clearly that the formation of the earth is a mystery. A lot, and I'm quoting from the article space.com. So it is a misrepresentation of science and a misrepresentation of the Quran spinning together. So going back to your point where you says, can you pair a list of miracles in which we cannot use science? That's any statement where God is intervening. That I, God, am doing this thing. Why would you use science to that? You just got to leave that alone. Go to the natural verses of the Quran. Like, for example, gender determination. How male and female is determined is found in the Quran and is scientifically correct. My argument tonight is BR was running away from all the good science in the Quran because he couldn't find error with it. And I think that's another spectacular miracle we are seeing in the Quran.
So my comment, with the permission of the moderator.
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
My dear friend lied again. He said that there's no order explained, that I'm quoting basically from the Quran, that earth was created before the universe. Yes, it is. Summa then explaining the order that after the earth, the space was created, and scientists
It's not stating
may
that.
not.
You're making it up.
So just hold a minute, let the audience read it again and again.
Yes.
We have discussed on it for half an hour, and the audience have read this 3 ayahs more than most probably a common Muslim has read, right? So let me just complete the statement. And science may not know all the things about the creation of the earth or the universe, but they have factually established that Milky Way, or the space that Milky Way exists in, was created way, way, way before the earth, thereby proving these ayahs very false, utterly false, whatever the correct word is.
The next one is, I think, directed towards BR. Mr. Itesh Kumar has been a member for 12 months. He says he doesn't respect you and you respect him, says a lot. It can be towards both of you. It's my misinterpretation. So just an observation. I move on from this actually. So Mr. Ashwini Maurya has been my member for 5 months. He says, BR भाई हर वक्त डिफेंसिव क्यों वहां भी और यहाँ भी? इसका जवाब आप दो, उससे पहले मैं ही दे देता हूँ. That when you are debating, you have to be courteous. If you're not courteous, you're an asshole. So obviously, you not being defensive. This is nothing to do with being defensive. This is just being courteous. So don't misinterpret, please. This is common courtesy. Moving on, I am not really sure if there is something. We are actually falling behind on the chart. I have to go through it.
Hey, it's been like 3 hours. I gotta get going. Can we just do one last question?
I get it. I think we are out of the chats here. So yeah, that's about it. We can actually take this off.
Yeah.
So as the host, I guess I get to say goodbye to both of you. So thank you for coming around.
Yeah.
Nadir, I think you want to say something.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering, BR, are we still going to debate slave girls in Islam? Are you still going to do that?
In fact, dear sir, I have a very fine member from the team Heated Debates who wants to debate with you on this topic, if you're okay with that.
Bhago mat.
I'm not bhagging, yaar. I'm just giving chance to the other members.
You hold that debate.
Okay,
and probably we can move ahead to a very specific debate in the future regard. Nadir, the idea was I was the one who was supposed to propose that debate with you as a member of Team Heated Debates. But obviously, since that point has been raised, I think BR should be taking that lead again. Then. Not an issue.
I don't care who, but let's continue the debate. Let's go into these arguments and find out if there's any merit about, slave girls and things like that. So, yeah.
Not an issue. Perfectly fine. Just to round things up, obviously, to the audiences and whosoever watches us in the future, BR and Nadir have another debate lined up. The topic is, I think, slavery in Islam. If I'm not wrong, Nadir, correct me if I'm wrong.
Slave girls in Islam or something like that.
Slave girls in Islam, perfectly fine. So the schedule still has to be set between the parties, and obviously this again has to go back to modern day debates because they were the original host. It's
Yeah.
just a technical glitch that we are all here. So still, whenever this is actually finalized, we'll actually put it across to everybody concerned, and they can actually mark the calendars. Nadeed, just on behalf of the team, actually, BR obviously being a contender, he can't speak on the team's behalf. We do want to continue this debate session between each other, and because I hope it has been a fruitful session between the two of us. So, hoping for more interaction in the future.
All right. Sounds good, guys.
Can
Thanks.
I give a courteous statement just to respect our guest?
Please, please.
So, Nadir, you've been a very a good human to talk to, and being a considering you a friend, because age doesn't allow that, because you're much older than me, I should be just respecting you. But you are a very friendly guy, and being a friend, I would like to recommend you a few books if
Okay,
you
sure.
like reading.
Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, I'm going to recommend you a very boring book, Tattva. Just getting past the first 3 chapters is going to be a challenge for any reader. But I'd be really happy if you read about it, because I'm reading your Quran.
Okay. Sounds good.
Fair. Have a good day.
All right, guys. Thanks. I'll get going. Talk later.
Radhe Radhe.
Good night.
Okay.
Good
Bye.
night. Jai Shri Ram.
ठीक है भाइयों, सबने
यार,
सुपर
मैं
चैट ले
बता
लिए।
रहा हूँ, इतनी मुश्किल से रोका है ना, मैं क्या बताऊं।
क्या?
अरे बहुत कुछ बोलने का मन कर रहा था, बट आई थिंक सुपर चैट्स यही थे, इसके अलावा और नहीं है। आप लीड लो, हम तो बैठे।
नहीं, आप ही लीड लीजिए। मैं बोल बोल के एकदम मुंह में फांफी आ रहा है, मजाक नहीं कर रहे हैं।
मैं फिर
तो
अपने कुछ मित्रों को ऊपर लेते हैं, जो
हाँ, कुछ मित्रों को ऊपर लीजिए। आधे घंटे बढ़िया बकैती करिए, हम सुन रहे हैं। ठीक है।
हाउ
बढ़िया।
सबका स्वागत है। हमारे साइंटिस्ट साहब भी आए हैं, वापस आए हैं, और इबलीस साहब तो हमेशा ही हमारे साथ साथ थे। तो जी, मैं पहले साइंटिस्ट साहब से बात कर लेते हैं। तो दादा बताइए, थोड़ा सा अपना खुलासा करिए विद इन बाउंड्स ऑफ
काफी
रिस्पेक्ट।
अरे बिल्कुल मैं डिसरिस्पेक्टफुल कभी होता ही नहीं हूँ वैसे भी, बट ओवरऑल में देखा जाए ना तो
एंड कसम से बस फाइनल स्टेटमेंट बता रहे हैं, दुनिया की सबसे छूतिया भाषा अंग्रेजी है। इतना मुंह घुमा घुमा के ना बता रहे हैं, मुंह टेढ़ा हो गया है हमारा। अंग्रेजी की माँ का
बेटा बहुत अच्छा है, आई नो।
हाँ, माँ का बेटा अच्छा है।
आप लाइटर जलाइए, हम गप्पे मारते हैं।
हाँ, तो मेरा यही कहना है। मैंने आखिरी पार्ट नहीं सुन पाया क्योंकि मेरे नेट का कुछ इश्यू हो गया था।
बस 1 मिनट, मैं बस ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि बेटा शब्द में स नहीं आता है।
बिल्कुल जी यूनिक सर।
अड़ा भी नहीं आता।
तो ओवरऑल मैंने जितना भी सुना, मैं लास्ट पार्ट नहीं सुन पाया, अनफॉर्चुनेटली मेरे नेट का कुछ इश्यू हो गया था। बट मैं एक बात कहना चाहूंगा कि जितने भी एविडेंसेस अपोजिट पार्टी से दिए गए थे, मोस्ट ऑफ देम वर आर्टिकल्स, एंड आर्टिकल्स की किसी भी साइंटिफिक कम्युनिटी में कोई वैल्यू नहीं होती है। जैसे लास्ट वाला जो पॉइंट उन्होंने बोला, space.com का क्रेडिबिलिटी स्कोर 0 है, बिकॉज दैट इज अ न्यूज पब्लिशिंग कंपनी। तो जो उनको स्पॉन्सर करेगा वो उनके हिसाब से लिख देते हैं, उसका साइंटिफिक क्रेडिबिलिटी 0 होता है। तो आर्टिकल्स को अगर ये एविडेंस की तरह शो करना, वो भी एक डिबेट में, मैं इसको साइंटिफिक एंगल से 0 वैल्यू दूंगा। तो स्टिल इट इज अ क्वेश्चनेबल थिंग, मैं उनकी तरफ से ये था। और बाकी बीआर के जो पॉइंट्स मैंने सुने हैं वो तो बिल्कुल ठीक है। वो शायद अंग्रेजी के बैरियर जैसे इनकी जो मुंह का शेप बिगड़ गया है, बिल्कुल उस वजह से थोड़ा सा ये हो सकता है कि लोगों को भी माइल्ड लगा। बट सही पॉइंट्स गए थे। मेरा फीडबैक तो इनके लिए यही रहेगा कि टू द पॉइंट, जैसे वो बोलना चाहते हैं कि कोई तो कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन दिखाओ जहाँ पे आप फेल हो रहे हो, ऐसे वो बोल रहे हैं। तो उसको आराम से बाद में जब स्ट्रीम्स होंगी, इसका रिव्यू सेशन होगा, तो उसमें आप चाहे तो एक बार फिर से सारे पेपर्स के साथ में ये सारी चीजें डिस्क्लोज कर देना, या फिर डिक्लेयर कर देना पेपर्स में दिला दूंगा रिलेटेड कंटेंट के, अगर आप चाहते हो तो, और प्रॉपर साइटेड पीर रिव्यू वाले पेपर, ऐसा भी नहीं कि अंडरस्टैंड साइट से
इसीलिए
उठा के लेके आ गए।
यूनिक
हाँ
सर, यूनिक सर, इसीलिए आपको
हाँ,
याद होगा बीआर के आने से पहले अपन ने वो सेशन बनाया था कि एक फुद्दू से
एग्जैक्टली
आदमी के आर्टिकल और एक साइंटिफिक आर्टिकल या लॉ में एक रिकग्निशन में जो फर्क होता
हाँ,
है, मैं दिखाना चाह रहा
बहुत
था
फर्क
ताकि
होता
ये चीज ना हो सके। उन्होंने सिर्फ पहले लेयर का जो अपनी बात हुई थी ना, पहले लेयर का आर्टिकल
है।
बंदे ने लिख दिया,
हम्म।
घंटे के पैरामीटर्स नहीं, मैं अभी तो तक खुल के बोल सकता हूँ, घंटे के पैरामीटर्स नहीं, कब करा, क्या करा,
हम्म।
क्यों करा, कैसे करा, किस किस के साथ करा, क्या प्रूफ था, क्या डॉक्यूमेंटेशन था, कुछ नहीं पता। भाई की अपनी पीडीएफ चल
हम्म।
रही थी, उस पे लिंक लगे हुए थे, लिंक किस जगह के पता नहीं, तो वो छोड़ देते
हाँ।
हैं। अभी बीआर के लिए कमेंट आया बारबरिका साहब का कि बीआर प्लीज बी कर्टियस आफ्टर द डिबेट नॉट ड्यूरिंग। भाई अगर ये कर्टियस नहीं था तो क्या था, रुक रुक के इडियट बोले जा रहा था वो। दोनों एक दूसरे पे तलवारें चला रहे थे, सही था।
अच्छा,
डिबेट में इतना तो
मैं
करना पड़ेगा।
लोग चले जाएं उससे पहले मैं एक पॉइंट की तरफ ध्यान खींचना चाहता हूँ, सबका जो देख रहा है उनका भी और आप लोगों का भी।
हम्म।
अ, जो वो बार बार दिखा रहा था हाउ स्टफ वर्क्स का जो आर्टिकल था, जिसमें वो दिखा रहा था कि मिरेकल्स जो है, मिरेकल्स वाली बात जो है, जहां उसने
हम्म।
हाईलाइट किया हुआ था उसके ही एक लाइन नीचे अगर पढ़ देते थे तो उसमें लिखा था कि दीज आर अनसाइंटिफिक statements या these are unscientific things. So that article literally says कि miracles जो है वो unscientific है, उसके आर्टिकल में
हाँ
लिखा हुआ
वो
था द वर्ड
सर,
unscientific।
इबलीस इबलीस भाई
हम्म
वही कह रहा हूँ, ये सब पोस्ट जब अपन रिव्यू करेंगे तो ये
हम्म
कंसोलिडेट कर
हम्म
देंगे।
हम्म।
अभी
हम्म।
तो बस आप लोग वैसे एक प्यारी सॉरी प्यारे भाई हैं जिन्होंने साहिल साहब की फोटो लगा रखी है, उन्होंने अब जाकर बहुत तगड़ा सा लाइन मारा है, कुरान में साइंस, ये क्या मजाक है यार। तो
और
अब मैं
इसकी,
मजाक नहीं कर रहा यार। जी दादा।
हाँ, मैं बस ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि ये अंग्रेजों का वाई इस्लाम है। जाके इसकी शुरुआत
हाँ,
से
हो
सारी
सकता है।
डिबेट देख लो। हाँ,
हम्म
या तो मैंने इसको रगड़ा है या तो डेविड वुड ने इसको रगड़ा था। आप
हम्म।
इसकी सारी डिबेट लाइन से उठा के देख लीजिए।
एक
मतलब
और चीज,
हम्म,
एक और चीज कि ये जो बार बार एक टर्म यूज करता है वो इसका पेट टर्म है वैकी क्वैकी। तो मैं बस हाँ इस स्ट्रीम के माध्यम से बस ये कहना चाहता हूँ, वो हजरात अगर सुन रहे हैं तो जो आप कर रहे थे उसे कहते हैं वैकी क्वैकी एक्सप्लेनेशन या वैकी क्वैकी इंटरप्रिटेशन। जो बीआर ने पढ़ा है वो हर बार आपकी स्कॉलर्स का ट्रांसलेशन पढ़ा है, उसे अगर आप वैकी क्वैकी कर रहे हैं तो विथ ऑल रिगार्ड्स आपने अपने ट्रांसलेटर्स की, अपने स्कॉलर्स वैकी क्वैकी की है, ठीक है। आपके जो इंटरप्रिटेशन है वो है वैकी क्वैकी। तो कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशंस।
बट इट वाज अ
और
लवली डिबेट बीआर, आई थिंक कंपोजर बहुत मुश्किल से था आपका। और
हम्म,
अभी जब इसका किया, ऑब्वियसली जो हमारे व्यूअर्स जो देख रहे हैं उनको भी पता है कि इसका किया पच्चा होना है, तो जब होगा उसका इंतजार करें, कंसोलिडेटेड फॉर्म में आपके लिए निकाला जाएगा। और बाकी जी
हाँ,
यूनिक
ये
साहब आप
बात तो
अलग से
है।
शांत बैठे हैं।
और बाकी
प्रॉपर,
ये
हाँ,
है कि
प्रॉपर जो
अगर, हाँ, मैं बस एक चीज ही कमेंट कर
बोलो
देना
बोलो बोलो
चाहता हूँ।
बोलो।
हमारे कुछ क्रिश्चियन भाई जो है शायद यहाँ पे उछल रहे हैं, क्योंकि उछलता हुआ पानी शायद किसी ने पीछे डाल दिया है। कह रहे हैं कि डेविड वुड इज क्रिश्चियन डैड ऑफ हिंदूज। अरे बाप रे! तो अगर वो कभी हिंदुइज्म के विरुद्ध बोलते हैं तो उनके साथ भी डिबेट की जाएगी, टेंशन मत लीजिए। अगर आप क्रिश्चियन भाई हैं हमारे, तो आपको अपनी भावनाओं को थोड़ा सा नियंत्रण में रखने की आवश्यकता है, नहीं तो उछलता पानी तो जो है कहीं भी जा सकता है। जी भैया।
ये आपके लिए
तो हाँ, मैं
एक रान साहब ने डाला है। सॉरी बस मैं सर बहुत देर से ना लोग इसको लेकर नीचे लिख भी रहे हैं, तो जनता की आवाज
ओके
बनकर
ओके।
मैं बोलता हूँ कि इसके 20 मिनट 2.5 घंटे में बदल गए। जी यूनिक सर आप बताएं।
हाँ, मैं लगभग वही पॉइंट बोल रहा था कि इसके हर एक पॉइंट से रिलेटेड आर्टिकल्स मुझे ढूंढ के निकालने पड़ेंगे, तो मैं उसके काम में लग जाता हूँ। इसके हर एक पॉइंट से रिलेटेड प्रॉपर पीर रिव्यू वाला एक पेपर मैं दिखाऊंगा, जिसको हम लोग कुरान से कॉन्ट्राडिक्ट होता है या नहीं होता है ये वेरीफाई कर लेंगे। ठीक है, वो ज्यादा बेटर रहेगा।
ये ठंडा वाला काम बाद में कीजिएगा। एक गर्मा गर्म
हाँ।
तड़कता भड़कता, हाँ, मेरे से एक स्टेटमेंट ले लीजिए एक और, हाँ छोटा सा।
ये ले
वो ये हाँ वो ये है कि उसी हजरात के लिए कि अगर आपके अल्लाह कहते हैं कि जो नॉन मोमिन है वो नजस है, आपके अल्लाह की समझ को मैं दाद देता हूँ कि उन्होंने नॉन मोमिन्स को तो नजस कह दिया, लेकिन मरे हुए कुत्तों की सड़ी हुई लाशों को वो पवित्र कह रहे हैं, उससे गिरे पानी को पवित्र कह रहे हैं। वाह मोमिन वाह, वाह मोमिन वाह।
अरे सर,
आपका वैकी
ये तो
क्वैकी, आपका वैकी
हाँ,
क्वैकी और आपका क्विकी दोनों आपको मुबारक हो। हम्म।
अरे सर, वो ये तो आप समझो
अच्छा,
5
ऐसा
बार।
करते हैं, रिव्यू में धोएंगे, ठीक है। अभी इसको शॉर्ट
हम्म।
एंड कंसाइज रहने देते हैं, क्योंकि मुझे डाउट है कि हमारे जो चिचा हैं सुपर, वो इसको अपलोड करेंगे अपने चैनल पे, जबकि उन्होंने मुझसे परमिशन मांगी थी। तो इसको शॉर्ट रहने देते हैं, ताकि
ओके
सुपर
ओके,
चिचा जो है इसको
हाँ,
अपलोड
टू
कर
द
पाए।
पॉइंट, बिल्कुल, जस्ट टू द पॉइंट, एग्जैक्ट।
एंड आई वाज रियली लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड टू दैट डिबेट, बट ऑब्वियसली अब बीआर ही करेंगे। सो बीआर, ऑल द बेस्ट टू यू। करते हैं, फिर इसको क्लोज करते हैं। सबसे रिक्वेस्ट है,
नहीं,
जब ये स्ट्रीम
सरकारें
क्लोज हो
मदीना
जाएगी तो आप लोग। हाँ
हीटेड
जी,
डिबेट्स जो है वो टीम है, तो हम प्रयत्नरत रहेंगे कि सारे मेंबर्स जो है सब जगह जाके जाके ढोएं। हम लोग बाकी पूरी प्रिपरेशन करेंगे, लेकिन डिबेट जो है और मेंबर्स भी करेंगे।
परफेक्ट परफेक्ट। तो वी आर अबाउट टू एंड द स्ट्रीम। रखने से पहले भैया, जब ये खत्म हो जाएगी ना, तो पीछे से कमेंट कुछ डालना, अच्छा सा बुरा सा, गाली दो, अच्छा बोलो, जय श्री राम बोलो, चलेगा। कुछ लिख कर जाना, अच्छा लगता है हमें भी पढ़ने में। पूरा दिन बैठकर यही कर रहे होते हैं हम लोग। सो इसी के साथ आई थिंक सबके क्लोजिंग आर्ग्यूमेंट्स आ चुके हैं। बहुत अच्छी डिबेट थी। नदीर, थैंक यू फॉर कमिंग, दिस वाज एन इम्प्रॉम्प्टू अरेंजमेंट। बीआर ने अपनी तरफ से बेस्ट करा, इबलीस साहब आए, यूनिक साहब ने अपनी तरफ से एक्सप्लेन करा है, आई वाज द हेल्पलेस गाय। तो सबसे दोबारा मुलाकात होगी, तब तक के लिए जय श्री राम, हर हर महादेव।
हर हर महादेव।
महादेव।